him grow over the decade that I've known him. Let me just say, Councilmember Padilla, how proud I am of you. I think we're all proud of the service that you've provided the council, not just as a council member representing the 7th Councilmanic District, but as the president of the council. You distinguished yourself over the years with an aplomb, a sense of strong leadership that I think we all recognize and we're going to miss, and I just wanted to acknowledge you for a moment. If you give him a big hand. Council member, soon to be state senator, by the way. I don't know what I can add about this issue of pancreatic cancer that hasn't already been said. It is without question one of the most deadly cancers with the highest cancer morbidity rate. It is a cancer that has affected the lives of too many Americans, some 33,000 diagnosed with pancreatic cancer this year. And so the fact that the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network has worked to educate people about this disease, organize and mobilize resources to treat and research this very deadly disease, I think is very important. I want to acknowledge that, but I also want to acknowledge the courage of Nancy Reardon Daly. We all know her as the former First Lady of the City of Los Angeles, a woman of great dignity and class, a woman who's had to struggle with pancreatic cancer in a way that's once again demonstrated the courage and the fortitude, the indomitable spirit that she has. And I wanted to accompany her here today and introduce the great friend, the mayor, the former mayor. It's only one mayor at a time, but my great friend and mentor, the mayor of Los Angeles, Dick Reardon.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. They say behind every great leader there is a strong supporting spouse. Well, I am that supporting spouse.
That's right. That's right. Very good. Very good.
Nancy is the chairman of LACMA. She founded and helped start the preschool movement in California. She's a founder of United Friends of the Children, which are the biggest supporters of foster children. She was on the President's Children's Commission and everything else. She is a great, great leader. And I remember my birthday was May 1st every year. This year was a very signal day because this is the day Nancy learned she had pancreatic cancer. And I will guarantee you one thing, for many years to come, it'll be a day of celebration, not a day of concern, because she has been fighting this every day. She's in great physical condition. She is going to be part of one of the great experiments that's going on at Johns Hopkins this year, and she's somebody who I am betting everything in my body, my soul, my heart, she's going to win this race. Let me introduce a great leader, Nancy Daly Reardon.
Well, I don't even know where to begin. I did not expect to have this prestigious group around me and escorting me into this space, and I'm very, very proud to be here, and I thank you for taking this time to focus on this very important issue. At the dinner last week, the PanCan dinner, some of your colleagues were there to do a presentation to me and to Dick, a hiking, actually a place where we can go hiking that is named after Dick and myself. And but to see the leadership from the council and this extraordinary dynamic group of people that you are, and you're bringing attention to this today, truly will make a difference. Just so you know that. It's not just a symbolic thing you're doing. It is critically important. Because like everybody here today, I thought I had my whole life planned out for me, at least for the next 10 years. And then in one split second, with a diagnosis on May 1st, my life changed. And not only did my life change, but the life of my family and my close friends. And from the second we learned of the diagnosis, my husband, as usual, as he's done before, kicked into play, and he started making calls all over the country to determine what would be the best course of action for us, for me. What's the best way to go to help find the best treatment for me? And what formed around me was not just my husband, but my children and my close friends, and we called them Team Nancy. And what it meant was, it was people who cared about me, loved me, and wanted to give their time to me. And I think what we all have to understand is when we're diagnosed with cancer, we had no choice in the matter. We have cancer. But the people who come to help us, the people who become the circle of friends, the team, they have a choice. They could choose to do other things. They have precious little time. And yet when they choose to give us their time, when we say, I'm going to do something for this person, not only are they doing it for themselves, because it really does do something for us, it really changes that person's life. And I can tell you that my life has been extended because of the prayers and the help and the support that I've received from all of my family and friends and strangers I don't even know that I hear about every day. So what I want to make sure I don't miss out on anything that I felt sure that I wanted to say, but mainly it's about volunteering and it's about caring. And understanding that when you reach out to help someone else, you've changed somebody's life. And today you've really made a difference. And I really pray that because of this spotlight on PanCan, on pancreatic cancer, we will shorten the time in which it still is a deadly killer. And we actually make it something that will be, we can have it, and as with other cancers, we can get past it. I thank you all very much for giving us this time today. Thank you.
And thank you, Nancy. There's also some other council members that would like to add their good wishes and comment as well, starting with Councilwoman Wendy Gruhl, and then Janice Hahn, Jan Perry, and Tom LaBonge.
Thank you, and thank you, Bill, for bringing this proclamation today. And I think, as everyone has said, the mayor and Nancy and Mayor Reardon, the importance of highlighting these issues and the month-long discussions, which should be year-long, us reminding people about the challenges with pancreatic cancer and how we can help find a cure and what we can do to help. And I think that's what we're here for today. But I particularly wanted to stand up for Nancy. We were there that evening in Bill's announcement. And I've known Nancy a long time, and it didn't surprise me that Nancy, once she was diagnosed, would become the advocate, the champion, whatever issue she has been involved in. And each of them have been personal to her, not as personal as this, but whether it be the foster children, people who had no voice, people who didn't have someone standing up for them. Nancy has been there, and she has been a mentor and a role model to so many young women and older women as well, because you have been that kind of person who doesn't just sit at home and talk about things, or even just talk in big meetings, but you roll up your sleeves and you actually get the work done, and you make the phone calls, and you raise the money, and you put together the policy documents, and you advocate for it. And there are very few people like that. And so I just wanted to stand up and say thank you. And people across this country, thank you for your role you're playing in the fight against pancreatic cancer. And it takes a very strong person to stand up and talk about something so personal. And the dinner that was there that night, I'm certain, although I do not know this for sure, probably raised the most money they've ever raised at a dinner, and a lot of it had to do with you. And so we all send our prayers.
Thank you very much. Ms. Hahn is our next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I just wanted to stand and certainly offer you, Nancy, my continued prayers. My dad, who adored you and loved the work that you did for children, particularly in LA County, he passed away from pancreatic cancer. And, you know, it was not something we really talked about. In fact, I'm not even sure that's what most people thought that he ended his life with. I mean, everyone knew he had a stroke and knew he had been in the wheelchair, and I'm not even sure that was mentioned, but that's what he was diagnosed with at the end, and I believe that's what finally killed him. So, but he certainly loved you and adored you, and it was interesting to hear you talk about Team Nancy. Well, you know, you've been Team LA, you've been Team Children. And as my colleague Wendy Gruhl said, you have always, you could have done a lot of things with your time, your money, but you were Team Children. And any time there was a cause that benefited the kids, you were there front and center, and you were their voice and their advocate when many times they had no one else. So it's absolutely perfect that now you have a Team Nancy, finally. You spent your whole life giving. You've spent your whole life not thinking about yourself first. So it's perfect that now you finally have the Team Nancy that is there for you. And where do we sign up?
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Our next speaker is Councilwoman Perry.
Nancy, they've said some really great things already, but I have to say that the night that you had the fundraiser, it was impressive because everybody in that room was there because of you. And I know that cancer has touched many of us in some way, but this is a difficult cancer to discuss. It's a difficult cancer to talk about. And to see you there that evening looking very beautiful and very elegant and sharing your message and trying to teach us, even when you're grappling with some great challenges, you and your family and your husband who's there by your side. All I can say is thank you.
Thank you. And Councilman Labange.
Thank you, Mr. President, and Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. Mayor, Nancy, and your wonderful husband, Richard Reardon. Give Richard Reardon another hand, because I think it's important to give him a little hand there. We were standing underneath the old City Hall across the street, Nancy, in the last part of his days as mayor, and I talked about legacy, and he told me legacy doesn't matter. But he set a great legacy of this city, and a lot had to do with you and children, and how you both love children. You talked about education first that never was talked about before, and you talked about county children. We're a city, but county children need more love in the whole operation of how the county is responsible for the welfare of children. You talked about that long before, and you came from way in the west side to come to the east side where the core is to really help. You were always an absolute angel. And then on a day, which was your partner's birthday, May 1st, boom, the news comes. And we don't know when this news comes, folks. It's a very, 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 very day, you know, that you'll never forget. I had that day this year. And I understand that, and I know your husband, who covered for me when we had something planned for Sister Jenny, gave my love to my wife that night when she was diagnosed with her cancer, which she beat. But you talked about the fight, Nancy, which is so important, and you talked about how people come from nowhere to help. And those who don't help, but those who do, do. And then people come from nowhere, and it's an amazing thing. And I just think when you elevate this issue of cancer and this specific cancer, it will make other people know about it to hopefully we could fight it and beat it, because it is a horrible situation. You've been through a tremendous storm, but now the sun is now shining, and that is so important that you get through the storm. And I just want to thank you for your fight. I thank you for the love of this city and the children in this city. I thank you for your love of your family, which is spread out to other families as well. So once and for all, always salute Nancy Daly Reardon for all she has done. God bless you, and keep fighting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Our next three speakers are Councilman Parks, Councilmember Cardenas, Councilmember Huizar. Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, Mr. Mayor, will be always indelible in my mind the day we spent the morning on the earthquake. And if you've not seen a person go into action with a sandwich in this hand and a phone in this hand, calling the governor and the president saying we need help, and actually getting the freeways fixed, and I just want to say that you've done one heck of a job, and whether you like legacies or not, you have them. And so, Nancy, in behalf of myself and Bobby Parks, just like to say our love is with you, and you've always been a role model to her, and she now sits on the commission that you started with Youth and Families, and she's looking forward to continuing what you have started with children and making that an emphasis. In fact, as a spinoff, just coming up in December 16th, she will have her 4th annual youth issue dealing with gifts to children in Leimert Park. That's a spinoff from your influence about dealing with young people and why it's important to start at that age. And so she's taken that task. She's moved from her 100-foot Christmas tree to now she lights a whole park in behalf of a community, because the kids need that kind of encouragement. We just want you to stay tough and strong. The issue is you look radiant. It's difficult for anyone to believe that you have an illness. And so I think it's that spirit that you have inside, and just keep up and Godspeed.
Councilmember Cardenas.
Nancy, many accurate and beautiful things have been said about you over the last few minutes, so I'll be brief. I just want to let everybody know how wonderful you are and how caring you are. As you take on issues that traverse this entire country and this world, you do it with your heart. I was at the dinner the other day, and I was saying hello to your husband, and as we were saying hello, he was trying to introduce me to you, but you were busy. You were busy making sure that a good friend of yours knew that she had a place to sit at this dinner that was going to have thousands of people. My point is, you care about the little things. You care about people and put forth energy and your heart toward people that other people forget about. Whether the person is a foster child, whether it's about animals, whether it's about cancer, you care. And the one thing that I'd like to point out to all Angelenos, especially there's a lot of kids in the room today, remember this: no matter how successful you are, be like Nancy Reardon. Be the kind of person that never forgets about the little things. Because the one thing we try to teach our children is, as you grow older and you become successful and we want you to be everything you dreamed of being, we want you to be humble. Thank you for your humility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cardenas. Our next speakers are Mr. Huizar and then Mr. Wesson.
Thank you very much. You know, just like my colleague, Ms. Hahn, my father passed away of pancreatic cancer back in 1990. And you feel very powerless when you're dealing with this. You feel like you can't do anything about it. And I want to thank you, because you're giving me hope, you're raising the issue, and you're inviting the City Council and the City of Los Angeles to join Team Nancy and raise awareness about this. It is beatable. You're a living example of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Huizar. Mr. Wesson.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I want to first say, Bill, thank you for bringing this forward to the council. And I want to thank our mayor, Mayor Villaraigosa, who is definitely one of the busiest mayors in the United States of America. But recognizing the importance of you being here today, standing with our other great mayor, my dear friend, Mayor Reardon, who I just had breakfast with last week and at the pantry. And I'm there, he gets there earlier than and I was on time, and he's got a pulled pork sandwich at 8:15 in the morning. It's something that he forced them to put on the menu and made me try it, and Mr. Mayor, was phenomenal. But Nancy, I don't know if you remember, but I first met you when I was with Supervisor Yvonne Burke, and I can remember how tenaciously you would fight for children. And I think that it's wonderful that so many of us would get up and say good things about you because they're true. I think Ms. Perry indicated that there's not a person in this horseshoe that hasn't been touched by cancer one way or the other. I know my mother is a two-time survivor, so I have no doubts that you will be fine with this. Thank you for all that you've done, and thank you for all that you will do in the future. And the last thing that I will say is that, Mayor, you and your lovely wife could have just sat back and gone on vacations endlessly with Eli Broad and your other dear friends, but yet and still you choose to give back, both of you. And I've always believed, as a person walks up the ladder of success, that they should stop, turn around, and bring somebody else up with them, and the two of you have always done that. God bless both of them.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. Mr. Zine is next, and then Mr. Weiss, and then Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nancy, I ran into you at the dinner that had the Kodak Theater. Bill Rosendahl was here making sure that we'd all show up, and he was the champion for that. I want to acknowledge Bill for that, and the courage that you have to bring this forward. Many people who become ill, they withdraw. You're bringing this forward. The news is here en masse today. People are going to hear about this. It's going to put it on the headline. It'll help educate people. It'll help know that there is life, that they can continue. They don't have to move away and run away and shelter themselves away from people. So I commend you on your courage to bring this forward, your courage to raise the funds, to make the difference, to make the change. And you look beautiful. You look beautiful that evening. You look beautiful now. Because people look at you, they don't know you're sick. They don't know you're ill. And oftentimes it's hidden. But your courage, I want to commend you on that. And Dick Reardon, we go way, way back. Way back to Lillian Salen, way back before you ran for mayor. When I was still a policeman, we met at a restaurant, and you asked about politics and the police. You became mayor, 2 terms, and here we are years later. So congratulations. And our mayor, who's the tireless man from LA to Asia, who never tires. So Nancy, congratulations. Dick, congratulations. And we've all learned from this. LA has learned from this. Congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zine. Mr. Weiss is our next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be brief. Thank you, Nancy, not just for being here, but for putting yourself forward in such a personal and intense way at a time that is so personal and intense for you and so difficult. And you are clearly doing it not for yourself. This is not an effort to cure yourself, but this is an effort to cure others, and that's why you've put yourself forward, and it's extraordinarily selfless of you. I want to extend to you my very best wishes, and your neighbor and your former councilwoman, Cindy Misikowski, just walked in, and she's our friend and our former colleague, and she wants to send you her best wishes as well. We send you our very, very best, Nancy.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to rise, and I have not had the opportunity to meet you as my colleagues have in the past, but just on behalf of all the children, especially those who grew up in these areas of the city that for decades have been neglected and now beginning to see interest because of the spirit you bring to our city. I want to say on behalf of their experience of change and the love and consideration you've shown, Mr. Reardon as mayor, and now with the energy of our current mayor, Antonio Villaraigosa, thank you on behalf of all the kids who are beginning to see that change and the light at the end of that tunnel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reyes. And I think we've heard from every single person on the council, so let me add my extraordinary wishes to an extraordinary woman. Just listening to the conversation around here, I remember when AIDS first became part of the public conversation, and a lot of people talked about silence equaling death. Well, conversation heals. And when you win, and I speak as somebody whose parents collectively have survived cancer 4 times, including my father, who they gave him a 15% chance of beating his cancer, and whose grandmother had pancreatic cancer, and you listen to the stories around this horseshoe of just how many lives are touched by this. We are one single community, but it takes an extraordinary person to bring and to weave this community together, and you've done that. I was so sorry to miss the dinner. I had my naval service precluded it, but Bill did an extraordinary job of bringing everybody to that dinner, and the support from Mayor Villaraigosa today, and the incredible support of your spouse. What's his name? That guy, Reardon. They have both just been incredible, but you really are somebody who's touched all of us today, but touched an entire city. So thank you. And when you beat this, you will be able to heal so many others through what you have done here today and what you've been doing for the past year. So God bless you, and we love you very much, Nancy. Yes.
Group shot right here.
Sure.
Real quick. Group shot.
Sure, absolutely. If we can invite you forward, we'd love to take a photograph to commemorate this. Thank you. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Reyes for an introduction. Councilmember Reyes.
Thank you, Councilman. I just want to take a second and welcome a visiting class from the UCLA Extension course who are studying Spanish journalism under the tutelage of Carlos Rajo. So welcome, I'm hoping they're still here. Welcome to City Hall, and hopefully this will be a place of learning for you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'd like to ask Sylvia Lynn Hawkins up. Ms. Hawkins? Sylvia Lynn Hawkins here on this item.
Good morning, everyone. On item number 21, I would like to inform you that there is part 2. I would just like to begin with part 1. all public people must be aware of. We must vote no on any woman breastfeeding or pancreatitis medication. Cause of comatose treatment of all male children illegally, destroying them at the age of 2 months until death. The hard silver spoon. These people are
Mr.
selling
President, she
kids
appears to be off topic on this.
foster care.
Excuse me, if you can please speak about the Awareness Month. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Again, we are on pancreatitis. Concerning pancreatitis, I would just like to basically give out the answer. I believe that we are all healed. I have suffered from pancreatitis for over 7 years. I have been healed now for over 7 years. I am no longer on any medication of pancreatitis. I am a living witness that you can be healed, not seeing if medication will heal you. I am a living witness that the problem was that it was the beef pork and the sugar. I am not a person who drank alcohol or wine. So pancreatitis is mostly known among those that do alcohol. So the problem was, as I went to Brockman Memorial Hospital in Montebello, California, from eating at Subway, you know, the meatball sandwich, was that I was suffering from pancreatitis of my stomach blowing up. Again, it is flaring around the edge of the stomach. I do believe that we all are healed and not sick.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hawkins. That closes our public
Can I
comment.
have like 1 more minute here?
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that's just 2 minutes. We have to try to say to that. But thank you. That closes our public comment on that. But if there's anything you'd like to hand to our Sergeant at Arms, we'd be happy to read that. Okay? Thank you. We can please open the roll on this item, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. With that, I would like to recognize for a very special presentation. I know that we have many guests here for our senior member colleagues we are saying goodbye to today. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Cardenas to begin our commemoration, and we'll take it from there. Councilmember Cardenas.
Okay. It's kind of odd to be commending our senior member, who's the youngest member, but at this time, we're going to begin our farewell to Council Member, former President of the Council, Alex Padilla. But first, we have a special presentation I'd like to announce and bring forward the San Fernando High School Band, who's 17 years in a row champions. Our champions from the San Fernando Valley, the San Fernando Marching Band. They are under the direction of Mr. Sims. We also have, as they're assembling, I'd like to mention that our Commissioner, Yolanda Fuentes, was the band major from San Fernando High School. I think she started the tradition of the 17 years of champions. Somewhere in those 17 years. When you're ready, Mr. Sims, the floor is yours.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
you very much. That's San Fernando High School, the school that Alex Padilla graduated from. And next, we're going to have the San Fernando High School cheerleaders who are going to perform a cheer for our Councilman Alex Padilla. Thank you very much. Congratulations, young ladies. Wonderful job.
Colleagues, with that incredible kickoff, we end an era here in the council today. The senior member of the Los Angeles City Council, President Emeritus Alex Padilla, who is the youngest member but the longest serving member. One might say an oxymoron, but one which has given us all. He has been younger than us, but a mentor to all of us. Today is his last day in the Los Angeles City Council. We are here to celebrate not just what he has done, but how he has led this city, how he has led an office to revitalize the neighborhoods that he was entrusted with representing and will continue to in his new role as state senator, but also to commemorate the leadership that he had for this entire city. Because while he touched the neighborhoods that he represented deeply, he also touched the heart of this city in a deep and lasting way as well. City Council is like a family. Besides our direct families, we spend more time with one another probably than anybody else that we know. 15 of us that intimately learn what makes each other tick. You see the heart, the character, the soul of each one of us. And each one of us have been gifted with getting to know Alex Padilla and to understand the man that is Alex Padilla. Before I came here to the City Council, Alex was somebody who encouraged me the idea that young people maybe could serve in public life, and he directly spoke to me about that and was one of the reasons I did decide to run myself. And I know that there are others that are around this horseshoe who are here too because of his efforts. But I also know that for the community that is behind, that is more important than this horseshoe here, because we are only here because of all of you. The city departments that have worked with Alex Padilla, his incredible family that has sustained a life of public service and allowed him to make the sacrifices that he has made, and then the members of the community who have entrusted him and every single time have been richly rewarded with that trust that they have given him. He has returned more to them than I think they ever dreamed they could have gotten from him, whether it was making sure that the Northeast San Fernando Valley was not a forgotten part of Los Angeles, but while geographically perhaps on the outskirts, was returned to the heart of this city. Whether it's making sure that something like a children's museum didn't have to be downtown, but could be in a community that is a young community, that has children and families who deserve to have, right where they live, an amazing asset. Alex has led the way time and time again. I'll be saying a few more words, but I know this entire horseshoe wants to give their love to Alex Padilla today on this bittersweet day where we have to say goodbye. We have, of course, something which Alex has probably given out a few of in his time here. But with each one of our names on this plaque in tribute to Councilmember Alex Padilla, California State Senator-elect 20th District, because you're still elect as of today. We wanted to thank and commend you for your years of exemplary leadership and outstanding service to the City of Los Angeles and the constituents of the 7th District. We wish you continued success in all your future endeavors. We know that the sky is the limit for Alex Padilla. It always has been. And we know that we will be working together not only as colleagues for decades probably to come in some cases, but we know that the people of the United States of America, the state of California, and the city of Los Angeles will continue to see their lives improved by somebody who embodies what leadership and what service is. And personally, I want to thank you, Alex, for your friendship, the things that we've been able to do together on this city council and the ways that you've inspired me. Alex is one of the calmest souls in a world that is filled in politics with velocity, with conflict, and with often dissension. He is one of the calmest voices and calmest souls, many years past his age, and somebody who has given that calm to me personally, but has also been able to provide to his community and to this city in extraordinary ways. So we give this collectively to Alex Padilla, council member, on this day. Congratulations.
I now have the honor and the opportunity to introduce a video that Alex's staff put together, but first, I'd like to allow a demonstration to take place. If you're here in these chambers because you're here to honor Alex Padilla, please stand. As elected officials, we are honored with people's votes. And as elected officials, we promise to be there for the community in whatever capacity that we serve. But I think it's a true testament to Alex's service to his community to see his community turn out for him and be there for him. So with that, congratulations, Alex, and sit back for a few minutes because your staff put together a little memorabilia for all of us to enjoy. Are we ready to roll the tape? Okay. Action.
Alex Padilla is a product of the San Fernando Valley. He attended local public schools including Telfair Elementary and San Fernando High School. He was fortunate to grow up in a loving home in Pacoima, where his parents taught Alex, his sister Julie, and his brother Ackley to work and study hard and do well in school. Alex played baseball and he volunteered at community cleanups. He excelled in school, and in 1990, to his own surprise, Alex received an acceptance letter from MIT. He had applied having never been there, and for that matter, having never traveled east of El Paso. The courses were a challenge, but Alex applied himself, and 4 years later graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. Alex worked briefly at Hughes Aircraft, now Boeing, in Canoga Park, in the mechanical design lab. But when the plant was slated for closure, Alex had to choose whether to move to Arizona with Hughes Aircraft or stay in Los Angeles. Alex chose LA. He landed a job with U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein and then became a Co-Rowe Fellow. These experiences introduced him to public service.
Members and friends, good morning. I wish I could be with you to say goodbye to Alex Padilla, but I want to take just a minute and congratulate him for his many contributions to this great city council. Alex is a friend. He's also a former staff member. And I've had many people leave my office and go on to bigger and better things. But few go on to become a council member of the second largest city in the nation and then ascend to the presidency of that body. That indeed is very special. Alex will be leaving the Los Angeles City Council not only as one of its youngest members, but also as its most senior. He's been a positive and a strong voice as president of the council. I think one of his most notable achievements was bringing the Children's Museum to the San Fernando Valley. Many said it couldn't be done, but Alex did it. And then Alex ran for the state senate. I know it was a tough race, but he went out, he walked the walk, he rang those doorbells, and guess what? He won. So congratulations, Alex, and I want to wish you great good luck as you move on. I have no doubt that you're going to make this great city, Los Angeles, very proud as you take your place in the State Senate of California. So congratulations, my friend, and best of luck.
Mayor Richard Riordan appointed Alex to the Building and Safety Commission in 1997, providing him an introduction to city government. Alex went on to manage the successful campaigns of Tony Cardenas, Gil Cedillo, and Richard Alarcon. It was Alarcon's election to the Senate that left Alex's community without a representative on the city council. Alex saw it as his responsibility to run for the office so that he could work to address the many needs of his community. In June of 1999, the voters of the 7th District elected Alex Padilla to the council, making him at 26 the third youngest person ever elected to city office. Only Roz Wyman and LA County Supervisor Zev Yaroslavsky were younger when elected.
Mr. Padilla is the new president of the city council.
Just 2 years later, history was made when 28-year-old Alex Padilla was elected president of the Los Angeles City Council. He was not only the youngest ever to hold the post, but he was also the first Latino. Being the first Latino and the youngest council president was a great responsibility, and Alex lived up to it.
I really, first of all, want to thank God for all the blessings and opportunities He's brought to me in life, and I want to thank each and every one of you.
As city council president, Alex sought to provide stability, leadership, and continuity in the new era of term limits. His goal was to be responsive to the needs of all the members, constituencies, and communities of Los Angeles. Unanimously re-elected twice, Alex served 4.5 years as council president. Under Alex's leadership, the council stood strong for a balanced budget. In his leadership role with the League of California Cities, he played a key role in negotiating and winning passage of Proposition 1A, which constitutionally protects local government funding from state raids. 80% of voters supported the measure. Alex was a leader during the difficult secession debate. Crisscrossing the city, he explained the merits of keeping our city together. Voters agreed. And then there was 9/11. With then Mayor Hahn grounded in Washington, D.C., the young council president was thrust into the role of acting mayor on a morning when foreign planes were hijacked by terrorists.
One of the greatest assets that we have in this city, something we point to with pride, is our diversity. But at no point is our tolerance and our understanding of various cultures and heritages tried than times like these. Tonight, Los Angeles is safe. And if anything, we're in a privileged position to be able to help our fellow Americans get through this time of crisis.
In a calm and steady voice, Alex reassured all of us in a series of briefings to the media. To this day, people still approach Alex and commend him for the role he played that day and the days that followed. Alex's leadership on that day and many others not only reassured a shaken public, it helped to open doors and demonstrated that given the opportunity, we can all be leaders. Throughout his time on the council, Alex Padilla has worked to improve the quality of life in his district and our city. He led efforts to increase our city's use of renewable energy. He championed ballot measures to address the public safety and infrastructure needs of our city. He fought for a healthier and happier city for the children of Los Angeles by working to prevent diabetes and reducing illegal sales of cigarettes to kids. The first motion he authored identified the site and funds to build the city's first new police division in 27 years. Today, the hardworking men and women officers of the Mission Area Station are reducing response times and reducing crime. Through his efforts, the Valley not only has new libraries, but bigger libraries built with sustainable award-winning designs. He helped bring new housing to the Valley to address the growing demand and to provide working families the hope of home ownership. He focused time and resources on providing the basic infrastructure that most people take for granted: sidewalks, curbs, gutters, and streetlights. It wasn't glamorous, but it made a difference for local residents. He worked to bridge the digital divide through the Valley Family Technology Project, which is increasing computer literacy of children and their parents.
Can we get a countdown? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And he identified the site and led the charge to fund the construction of the new Children's Museum of Los Angeles in the 7th District. All you have to do is drive around the Northeast San Fernando Valley and you can see the change. New buses, new bike paths, new parks, new horse trails, soccer fields, and fire stations. New homes, new opportunities, new jobs. The 7th District is a better place to live, thanks to Alex. As he moves on from the city to the state, we know that Alex will continue to be a tremendous advocate for LA. From his love of his friends, family, and the residents he serves, to his love for the Dodgers and the Lakers, cool restaurants and hip night spots, Alex will always remain a true blue Angelino. From San Fernando High School student body president to Los Angeles City Council president, and now state senator, Alex's future couldn't be brighter. A grateful city thanks Alex Padilla for all he has done and all he will continue to do for the people of Los Angeles. To be continued.
Here we are on Election Day, Alex Padilla, and what am I doing? Saying farewell to Alex Padilla. And let me tell you that on a day like this, when you're about to become a state senator, let me tell you that I couldn't feel and be prouder. From the first moment we met, I saw a young, talented individual, someone who understood that he got a great education and he had a responsibility to a community that he was born and raised in, and you've met that responsibility. And as a council member, the youngest council member, I believe, ever elected to the LA City Council, youngest council president, you've served with distinction, you've worked hard, you've done an incredible job. You're on your way to the state senate, where I know you're going to make a mark, you're going to make a difference, and I couldn't be prouder. I'm very happy to be among the many saying farewell, though I wish we had you here in the city council, term limits being what it is. That's not possible, but best of luck as you go on to the state senate. I know that the San Fernando Valley and the city of Los Angeles are going to be the beneficiary. I expect you to be our chief steward here in Sacramento for the city of Los Angeles. So best of luck.
Congratulations, Alex, on your amazing victory and on your ascension to Sacramento. We've spent a lot of times here together. We traveled to Israel. We made our Dodger Stadium debut together. And there was always that unresolved question about who the tallest Latino politician was in Los Angeles. But now, the voters have confirmed it by sending you to Sacramento. The tallest Latino in Los Angeles, but I'm always proud to be your partner here in the city of Los Angeles. We've worked very hard on important issues for the residents of this city, and you've shown the kind of leadership that all of us should emulate in providing great resolutions to tough problems for people here in the city of Los Angeles.
Alex, best of luck as you move on to your new assignment, but good news is you're only a couple of 100 miles away, so we know where to find you. And believe me that you owe me a couple of favors, so I will seek to find you.
And I just want to express to Alex Padilla my personal appreciation and congratulations on his inauguration to state senator. Alex it's good and bad with Alex. I've been fire chief now for a little over 11 years, and when Alex came on the council, he was so much younger than me that it made me feel old. But now those older guys are moving on to the Senate, and so we're looking forward to working continually with Alex. He's been so great in supporting the fire department, the community needs, the department needs, and we're certainly happy that we've got his voice at the state level. And Alex, congratulations to you and all your whole team and to your family, and we look forward to partnering again with you at the state level. Congratulations.
Councilman, Senator, it's been a distinct pleasure to work with you on city government matters and on League of California City business throughout the years. I look forward to your contribution and your participation in state government. It can only improve because of your involvement with it.
Congratulations, Alex, for your new position. I know you will take with you your commitment to disaster preparedness, and you know the big one will hit, and it will not only be just Los Angeles, it will be all of California. And we're so fortunate to have you in your new position. We'll miss you, but good luck, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Alex, I want to wish you the best of luck in the state Senate, and it's a great memory when I gave you the oath of office at your parents' home. I know they were very proud of you, as we all are.
Okay, Alex, everyone knows I'm retiring. The real reason why I'm going is because you're leaving. Broke my heart. I couldn't stand to see you leave and have me still be the CAO, so I just decided to get the hell out of here. I told you when you first came in I'd help you. I think I've honored that promise. I want to miss you dearly. Good luck in Sacramento. Driving crazy as you've driven us crazy. Thank you.
Alex, it's onward and upward. I guess the state's gain is our loss, but you deserve plaudits for what you've done not only for the constituents of the Great Seventh, but for the city as a whole. And on behalf of the CLA's office, we all want to wish you the best and congratulations, and look forward to getting some calls in the future to find out what the heck you guys are doing up there. Congratulations again.
Alex, I'll never forget breakfast at La Abeja, across the street from your aunt's house, a couple blocks from my house. You'll always be from the neighborhood, and keep on doing what you're doing. Congratulations.
Alex, this is a goodbye, but also a thank you. Thank you for your incredible leadership for the City Council. As one of the last holdouts and the last remnant from the last century, along with me and you, it really gives me great pleasure to say it was incredible to serve with you, and in particular, the strength that you brought to the LA City Council as an institution. People don't remember that you came in under a new charter which said that the council wasn't supposed to be that strong. But I think under your leadership, both the council was strong, and you brought integrity, intelligence, and dignity to the presidency of the City Council and membership of the LA City Council. So thank you for that.
Alex, you set the bar. You got me here. You filled the shoes that I now wear, and you've set the bar for what it means to serve the public. Every single day, you made sure your district, your people were taken care of, and I know you're going to do the same thing in Sacramento, not only for your district, but for this entire city. We love you here, and thank you for all you've given to City Council and the people of Los Angeles.
Alex, you've been an incredible City Council member. You will always be a council member to us, but good luck in your new job in the Senate. We know that you are only a phone call away or just around the corner because you're going to support Los Angeles. So congratulations, Alex. We'll miss you.
Alex, congratulations on being elected to the California State Senate. The people of your district are very fortunate to have you. You have a ferocious intellect and an ability to deliver for the people that you are elected to represent. And while chronologically you were the youngest council president, you certainly grew far beyond your years. So good luck to you, and I look forward to working with you again in the future.
Alex Padilla is leaving the LA City Council. He did a great job as president. He's been a wonderful city councilman. I'm glad to see him leave so I can get to work. No, just kidding. Alex, you're a great leader. You've done a wonderful job here. You're going to be a great state senator. Look forward to all the goodies you're going to send back to Los Angeles. Thank you.
Alex, we're going to miss you here on the City Council. I will say, even though we've had differences, that you really came in as the president of our body, and you had some pretty big shoes to fill. Actually, I think They were high heels. But you did a good job. There was, a lot of us, you really had a freshman class, new members, and you did a good job of herding cats and getting us focused on issues. I also will always be grateful, and I think you never got enough credit for the fact that it was the first time in the history of Los Angeles that we had a standing committee that dealt with schools and neighborhoods, and you were responsible for that. And I think that's gone a long way towards finally bridging the gap between City Council and LAUSD, and I think you owe a lot for that. And I know I was always your favorite Han, but I will have to say, your dad will always be my favorite Padilla.
Alejandro Padilla, muchísimas gracias por todo. Thank you very much for the leadership you've shown as council president, as a council member for the 7th District in this great city. I also want to personally thank you for the support you've given me. I recall I approached you when I wanted to run for the school board many years ago, and you were an inspiration, a true friend, and someone who I've always looked up to that has provided great leadership here in the city. Te quiero dar las gracias. Thank you very much. We're going to miss you here in the city of Los Angeles, but we know you'll be up in Sacramento doing great things throughout the state, and we know we'll have a champion for our kids, for the city, and I'm certainly and definitely going to miss you on council.
Alex, the name Padilla stood tall in this council chambers for many a year. Congratulations on your advancement to state government. I really was great sitting next to you, and I'm very proud of you as a young man, a great tiger from San Fernando. Good luck to you.
Alex Padilla, just want to say thank you for everything you've done for the city of LA. You've been a great partner on the city council, a great partner when I was a general manager. And some of the greatest memories I have of you is the love your family has for you, and also 9/11, where you ran this city for a whole week and provided leadership, direction, and a good deal of calming so that the public knew that someone was in charge. I'll always appreciate that. Look forward to working with you when you become a state senator, and I know that's not your last stop. Best of luck.
Alex, it's finally here. The senator leaves to Sacramento. I just want to thank you for your friendship. Watching such a young person become the polished public servant you've become has been a truly an honor, and I wish you the best. And I just hope that if we ever find ourselves in Sacramento, we'll continue working on this incredible tag team that I thought we've developed, and that we're able to provide the kind of legislation that serves not only our community and our city, but this whole state, if not this country. With their energy, their focus, I know it's going to happen. So God be with you, and buena suerte. Nos vamos a ver más al rato. Good luck.
Congratulations, Alex, from a council member to a state senator. We in Los Angeles are real happy you won. You're going to fight for us and the issues that we need your partnering in the legislature. I predict you'll end up being a big shot in that group as you were in the LA City Council. Onward and upward for Alex Padilla.
Well, Alex, you're going away from the city council, but you're not going away from me because you still represent a good portion of my district. And so I'm looking forward to working with you while you're in Sacramento and I'm still down here in Los Angeles. We're going to continue the strong team that you and I have had over these last couple of years. And it's been a pleasure working with you. I appreciate so much all you did to help me get elected in the first place. And I know our friendship will remain strong even though you're 400 miles to the north. We're going to continue to work together to represent the people of the Northwest Valley. Congratulations on a great tour here in the city of LA, and congratulations on what's going to be a great tour in Sacramento.
Alex, as you know, I've always believed in conspiracy theories, and I see in the paper the same week that you get elected to the state senate, the Dodgers have opted to barely renew Eric Gagne's contract for next year. So we are not going to see you in City Hall, but I know you spent a lot of time at Vero Beach over the last couple of years, and if you end up in the dugout instead of in Sacramento next spring, we'll all be happy for you. Maybe we'll all be better off. Anyway, good luck to you, Alex.
Alex, you've been a good friend. The one regret that I have is that I won't have the opportunity to actually serve more time with you on the city council. Being an individual that was fortunate enough to serve in Sacramento and kind of get high up on the food chain, I anticipate that you will do great things and serve the city of Los Angeles and the state of California well. Be good.
Alex Padilla, Senator, State of California. Alex, I remember when it all began there in Pacoima. I remember the first news conference when no news members showed up, but I was there with you along with the Police Protective League. I've seen the whole career go through the process. Congratulations, well deserved. We're going to miss you here, but we know we got a good friend in Sacramento. God bless you, and congratulations, Senator Alejandro Padilla.
Alex, from here, from all of us at Lenchita's Restaurant, we wish you the best of luck. We wish you good luck in everything you do, and congratulations on winning the Senate. Whenever you're here in the Valley, we're here with open arms for you. Thank you very much for everything you've done here for the city and for everything you will do for us. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Alex. Congratulations and good luck in Sacramento.
Playa family, we love Alex, and we wish him the best on his new job. We are part of this community, and we love this community. We leave him with this community, and thanks to the community to help Alex, to support him on his campaign, on his to be on a senator. And we wish him the best to help our community. Thanks God to give me that time family, and thanks the community to support him.
Hi, mijo. Estamos aquí en uno de tus lugares favoritos, Lenchitas. Venimos a felicitarte, a decirte que estoy muy orgullosa de ti y a desearte muy buena suerte en Sacramento. Dios te ha bendecido con todo lo que has hecho. Tus sacrificios no han sido en balde porque la comunidad te quiere mucho. No te quieren tanto como yo, pero te quieren mucho. Y te deseo muy buena suerte, mijo. Que Dios te bendiga y te dé fuerza para seguir adelante. Cuídate, mijo. Te quiero mucho.
Once again, I'd like to thank the Channel 35 crew and Alex's staff for putting together that wonderful commemorative video to our friend, our council member, soon-to-be Senator Alex Padilla. And for those of you who don't speak or understand Spanish, basically, at the end of the video, Alex's mother said wonderful things about him and about the community. And one of the things I'd like to point out to you is she said, Alex, I love you more than the community does, but I'll tell you, the community definitely loves you. Let's give it up for the community. You know, we've commemorated Alex before, and at one time it was maybe a dark moment for the city when handcuffs were pulled out, a guy was dancing in a boa on a stage, and I'd like to bring Chief Bratton forward to do, not that version, but to commemorate Alex with a plaque.
Alex, we have with us some of the command staff, some of the leadership of the Valley, and particularly out in your area of the Valley. And on behalf of the Los Angeles Police Department, it's my privilege and honor to, in front of your wonderful family, I was really so touched watching your parents. Like yourself, I'm very fortunate to still have both my parents. And we want to thank you for our 19th area station. We want to thank you for all your support during your time here. And just a small memento to put on the wall up there, look at it, be reminded of the Los Angeles Police Department and how much during your time you did for this great organization. the same time, I want to remind you I have an IOU from 2002 for 300 police officers, and so in addition to the 1,000 that you were so helpful in getting, that we'll still be looking for those other 300 with state funds somewhere along the line. So, and we do know where to find you. Yes. Thank you so much, Alex. Appreciate it.
Want to thank the Chief, both Chief Bratton and former Chief Parks, for the wonderful relationship that I personally enjoyed with the department. I know my office has had with the Department. Public safety is number one. I'll save some stories for later. Chief, not just bring about the 19th station out in Mission Hills to serve the North Valley in 9/11, gangs, graffiti, et cetera, but the biggest difference that I'm proudest of in my district is the turnaround in crime and how safe people feel. Thank you. Thank you. And all the men and women of the LAPD.
Thank you, Chief. At this moment, I'd like to take a few seconds to thank Eric Garcetti, our council president, who would normally be emceeing this opportunity to commemorate our friend Alex Padilla. And for those of us who are elected officials, politicians, and those who know politicians, it's hard for somebody to step away from the microphone and give it to somebody else. So I'd just like to thank you, Eric, for allowing me to do this. I'll share stories later about how I feel about Alex and my memories with him that are relevant to this day. But at this time, I'd like to ask Council President Grewal if there's any members who'd like to speak before we have members of the public say a few words.
Yes, we do. So I'd like to recognize Councilmember Zine, followed by Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. Alex, it brings tears to your eyes. I saw the tears, your mom, you, your family, the little boy from Pacoima that went to MIT, and we saw in the video the success. And I see your dad at the restaurant when I stop and have breakfast occasionally at that restaurant on Riverside Drive. But I still recall that first time when Rick Taylor was running your campaign. I was the director with the Protective League, and there were a group of people who were supporting Alex Padilla for city council. And that was a long time ago. And I've seen the success. I've seen the opportunities. I've seen the teamwork that you've built here with this council. We've had the opportunity to travel to distant places. We've enjoyed that. You, the California League of Cities, the President, National League of Cities, all the different activities, but the team building that you created when team building needed to be built. But it goes back to that street in Pacoima where we gathered for the news conference to announce, and press didn't arrive. But it didn't break your spirit. We went to your house with your family. We enjoyed refreshments there, and the campaign was on. And I remember the most recent campaign for Senator, Bill Rosendahl and I were there on that Sunday. I think Bernard Parks was there also on that Sunday, getting the crowd and going out there and getting the votes so you could become a California State Senator. So many wonderful memories, so many wonderful times. The times the Valley Council members have gotten together for dinner. And you remind me of a bottle of fine wine, because I know you love wine. And that fine wine, it matures with time. It becomes more valuable. It becomes better in time as you've matured into this leadership position here in the City Council, and now your new role as a California State Senator. I will be up there for your inauguration. I consider you a close friend. You've been there to help me, and you've been there to guide me and to mentor me, along with many of my colleagues, but you're a true friend, and the relationship that you have with your family is absolutely spectacular. Your mom and dad, I know, are so proud, and your family is so proud of your accomplishments, for where you started to where you've come today, and as you continue to go up that ladder of success. So best wishes, my good friend. God bless you. I will be there at your inauguration and to continue to wish you success in your many years in politics. Alex, I hate to see you go, but I know the career path continues, and I will be there as one of your main cheerleaders, making sure that you reach all those dreams, all the success that you wish for. God bless you and your family. And thank you for all your friendship.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Mr. Smith, followed by Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Madam President. I met Alex a number of years ago when I walked into a room as a member of Councilman Bernstein's staff when we started talking about a Mission police station. We didn't call it Mission back then, it was just the future North Valley Police Station. And when Alex Padilla walked in the room, he immediately gained everybody's respect. He got their attention. He said, this is what we want, this is what we want to see done. How are we going to do it? What's going to take to clear all the things to get it done? And Alex Padilla was really the driving force that brought us the first new police station in 27 years to the San Fernando Valley, not just the city of LA. And so I saw that leadership quality with Alex at that time. Then I was very fortunate a couple years later when I decided to run for office. And I went to Alex and said, Alex, I'd love to have your support. And Alex gracefully gave me his support, rolled up his sleeves and told his entire staff and all the people that he knew in the community, let's get Greg elected. And so from Chris and myself, we will forever be grateful to you for your friendship, stepping forward in a time when I needed help, and the work we did together on good things like the Mission Station. That's a lasting tribute to you and your community. It's unfortunate you stole that from me in my district. Well, when reapportionment was taking place right before I got elected, he stole the Mission Station out of District 12 and put it in District 7. That's okay. It's fitting that you did it because you really took the leadership role. But the really thing, the impact that millions of Californians never knew, like we knew here in LA about you, is what you did on Prop 1A. When we needed a champion in California to stand up for local government after we'd had our treasury raided year after year by the state of California, it was Alex Padilla and the mayor of Fresno who went to the governor and negotiated the deal that put Prop 1A on the ballot that forever protects local government from the raids of the state legislature taking money from us. Now, you may regret that the next few years as you go to Sacramento, but I don't think so. Now, I know your character. And so for you, the lasting impact will be to millions of Californians who never met you or had not heard of you yet. But I think they're going to, because you're going to be a great state senator. And I think we're going to see that this foundation here in Los Angeles was the beginning of a career that's going to be stellar. And it's not going to end in the state senate. It's going to go on to bigger and better things, because I know that is in your heart, that you love serving the people, and that you will continue this great career that started right here in this chamber, working for those people in that community. And we all have great faith that we're going to see great and wonderful things from Alex Padilla. But again, my personal gratitude for you as your friend, more than as your colleague. I've enjoyed your friendship. I've enjoyed working with you here these last few years. And I look forward to working with you not as just my state senator, but also as the chairman of the IGR committee, because I'm going to be up in Sacramento asking for a lot of things, and you're the first guy I go see. So Alex, I'm glad you're up there and our point guy in Sacramento. God bless you for all you did to LA. God bless you for what I know you're going to do to the people of California. Thank you.
Councilmember Reyes.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to congratulate you again. I think all that's been said has been said in this video, but I can help but recount the first time I met you. Essentially, you were at the Biltmore celebrating one of the campaigns you were working on. What struck me is you stood head and shoulders above everybody else. All the Latinos were this height, and you were like sticking out. So who is that guy? That's Alex Padilla. And, oh, okay. He's a campaign manager. I said, no wonder we listen to him. They can all see him. But the bottom line is,
She's here for Alex.
a los padres, muchas gracias. Deben que tener mucho orgullo. Felicidades. Tienen un hijo tremendo. Y de parte de todos los padres que han sacrificado esa experiencia de los inmigrantes para ver a un hijo salir adelante y lograr lo que él ha hecho es algo fantástico. Y todos nosotros somos orgullosos por lo que ha emprendido. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Alex.
I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Wesson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I'm looking for Mr. Cardenas. You know, Tony and I served for years in the California State Assembly, and we formed a brotherhood, a partnership. And I guess one of the best things that happened to me based on my association with Tony was to be included as part of your family as well. So it's been very special for me. But you have your mom and your dad here. The video I thought was fantastic, but I want to find out which one of them bought that pair of pants that you had on when you were... Don't worry, my mother used to do that to me. Yeah, he was golfing at age 6. All you needed was a red hat. But this is the ending.
I just can't resist. Herb, if you like them that much, I'm sure they fit you. I can dig them up.
I have a pink hat that would go with them, and I do golf. So it would be a very good outfit for me. But I want to say this is the ending of a chapter in your life. It's not the ending in the book of your life. And I'm a big television buff, and I love to watch series, but because of our work, I never have an opportunity to watch them weekly. And I'll admit, I was addicted to The West Wing. I would buy it, you know, the complete season and watch it all. I just finished the last season. And when I look at you, I see Matt Santos. I look forward for the day that one time I can cast my vote for Alex Padilla. The sky for you is the limit. Please aim high, have faith. Anything is possible for you, and I will always be one phone call away if you need me. And please have those pants pressed before you send them, cleaned and pressed before you send them to me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rosendahl, followed by Mr. Parks, Ms. Perry, and Mr. Labange.
Thank you, Madam President. When I met your father, it was at a ball game, and you proudly brought him to the ball game, and I got to meet him, and I saw the love and affection you had for your father. Then this summer, when I was there campaigning for you, I met your mother. And the energy between you and your parents says it all to me. You love your parents, they love you. They've raised you to be this great leader that you are today, and it is just the beginning. I watched your leadership here in the council for the last year and a half. You're strong, you're bright, you're focused, you have direction within yourself, you have integrity and honesty. And I expect you to become one of the top 2 or 3, if not, you know, the boss up there in Sacramento in a quick time as a senator. I see the relationship with our great city just getting better and better thanks to you, who now know all the city issues, and taking the energy out of Sacramento and helping this great city will be your next task. Then I see you even going forward to Washington, D.C. and bringing that all to us. So onward and upward to Alex Padilla. God bless you, Alex.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alex, I really want to say thank you for all the things you've done for the city, and particularly myself, and the number of times we've had conversations about new council person and what the duties are, and even with the background in city government, you still have to know the nuances and where your seat is and how to push the button, and so I appreciate all of that. And also, I think, I also want to comment, in meeting your mom and dad, it has been just great to see how you relate to them, how you make them a part of every one of your successes, and how they're there all the time to support you. And I think that's the whole issue. We talked earlier about a team. That's your team no matter where you are or what you're doing. Many people discuss about whether leaders are made or they're born, and I always think it's leaders come out when there's incidents. In 9/11, you should really look at that as keeping this whole region calm and how you address those issues. We thrust you into it as you were walking out for your first news conference. We were trying to explain to you what the EOB was and all those other things, and you stood there and made that those comments. And I think it was the first time I saw in a public setting of something that significant that an elected official took the time to also speak in Spanish. And I think it was something in which everyone appreciated it. You calmed the fears in the city. And even though we had rumors all day long about planes going north, south, east, and west, the public felt that this region was safe, and that was because the entire community looked towards this city no matter where they lived in the immediate region. So I want to say thank you for that, because people still comment about it and how They turned on television no matter what city they lived in to find out what was going to be the next update. And I think the leadership you've shown on the council, it's a tough job. Everybody's here elected independent, yet you pull it together on committee assignments, trying to get people their interest in what they would like to do and impact the city. And then you also do it very graciously when you pass on bad news, which is also the mark of a leader, because it's not, in a sense, everybody can be a leader in great times. But when the budget is running short, when there's not enough money, when you have to move things around, when people want the same assignment and you can't have committees with 15 people on it, you have to make those decisions. And I appreciate that. You've done it with class, you've done it with grace, and I just want to say keep up the good work. And as I said on the video, it's not your last stop.
Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Madam President. Alex, I wanted to tell you two things that I'm going to remember. Number one, I always listened to you very carefully when you spoke in Spanish, and I know that you may remember that I would seek your counsel on my pronunciation and the right word, so that I tried very hard not to make mistakes on television. But the thing I like the most about you and is watching you when you were with your parents at events, not on stage speaking, but I liked to watch you with your parents because I always appreciated the way that you treated them. You were always very attentive and very kind, and you made sure that they were comfortable, them and their friends. And I remember the comment you made one night at the El Grito reception about your mother and her posse. I just really found that very inspiring to see how important your parents and your family are to you. I know that will go with you wherever you go. And if you talk about whether great leaders are made or born, I think you were made because you were made by your parents. You got that from them. So congratulations.
Mr. Labange.
Sister, thank you. Alex, it's coming, but the great thing is, I used to introduce Alex as that he threw a no-hitter against Taft. And most guys, when you get complimented, he was a San Fernando Tiger, when he threw a no-hitter, but Alex is an honest man. He said it wasn't a no-hitter. It was a one-hitter? Complete game, but he didn't do a no-hitter. But he corrected me. Some people like to say other things in their old days, but this is so what's wonderful. And so many nice things have said. I love what you said about your parents, Lupe and Santos. I love seeing it's a great picture. Your father working, a hard-working man at Patty's in Toluca Lake in my district. Mr. Zines there in the morning for a short stack, but I come by at night. I come by at night and he's working and serving the people with an honor. And your wonderful mother, and I saw the reaction to the video. And it's amazing. And all this comes together. Richard Reardon, who put you on a Building and Safety Commission because of your leadership role early on. Things happen for a reason. But Alex, it's just great that you have become a senator for the state of California and have the knowledge. And I know you worked with then Mayor Hahn on the California Measure 1A or what it was to help cities. Your time that you took for the league, your help for Pacoima and everything. It's just really, I'm just proud of you as a person. And I'm proud of the relationship that you took when John Ferraro was here, because John kind of helped in a little way. I think he liked guys, I'm only 6 foot, but he liked guys 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". And you being a tall man, he saw something in you that helped share in that way, which I'm sure you use every day in how you look at things. God bless you and your family and your sister and brothers and the wonderful district that you've come. I know why he went to MIT, folks, because when he broke ground, he didn't start at 10. He didn't start at 3, he started at 7, 6, 5, 4. You're an angel in the city of angels. This is a loaf of pumpkin bread. I told you I'd get you one.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Huizar.
Alejandro, I wanted to, again, thank you for your friendship. Thank you for the guidance you gave me when I first started as a young school board member. We developed a relationship, and especially during when I was on the school board and you were the council president, we developed the President's Commission on School Governance. You reached out, and I saw through that whole process that you reached out to me to do something because you sincerely cared. and you sincerely wanted to do something about the educational opportunities that our children are facing here in Los Angeles. But not only that, through that whole process, many of us, when we're in elected offices, we're faced with decisions that we have to make. Sometimes we go with the political decision because it's more expedient, but sometimes we go with what's the right thing to do. And throughout the whole process, I saw that we were doing what was the right thing to do. You would remind us about that. You'd raise it to us every time we were going through that process and creating the commission. And that's the type of leadership that we need. That's the type of leadership that you exhibit, and that's the type of leadership that Sacramento is going to receive from you. So thank you for that. I also wanted to mention that you're going to be a role model for many, many young people throughout your career. You already are. And you're going to be a role model for kids of all income brackets, of all races. But I think particularly for Latinos, they're going to look at you because you are who you are, you do what you do, and in everything you do, you're a kid from Pacoima who had an opportunity to succeed. And we see that. When we meet with you, you take us to those small restaurants in the Valley. When you talk to us, you do things that remind us of what it means to have an opportunity from a kid from the barrio to be able to go to an MIT, and what that means, and how we should appreciate that and extend our hands to other people. And as I look back, you were a role model for me when I first started, and in the future, we're going to look back and see the impact you've had on thousands and thousands of people, especially the young people, and you're going to continue to have that impact. So thank you so much. And I recall when we read that LA Times article about 4 of us on the council and our immigrant roots and our parents, and we talked a lot about your family and what that meant to you. Everybody's mentioned that here today about how important that is to you and the love you have for your family and your parents. And that's also something that a lot of young people are going to value when they see Alex Padilla moving on, trailblazing, and continue to do good things for the community that gave Alex Padilla so much. Thank you, Alex, for all you've done and who you are.
Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Madam President. Congratulations, Alex. The memory that I have today as you go off involves that driving tour you took me on a few years ago in your district. And I remember as you drove me around, you showed me various parks that you'd worked on, Mission, Mend, other places. And then towards the end of the tour, you drove me by the house you live in today, and you drove me by the place you grew up in. And you drove me up and down the streets of the neighborhood where you were a kid. And that made a big impression on me. And it's very clear to me, looking at you today as not a young man anymore, grown man, as you go off to Sacramento, you go off as that person from that neighborhood. More profoundly, I think, than any of the folks I've ever met around here. You embody where you are from and the absolute best of the place you come from. And I know you're taking that with you to Sacramento, and we're very grateful for that. Congratulations, Alex.
Ms. Hahn.
Thank you. Well, actually, Alex, you probably don't remember it, but the first time that we actually had a conversation was, I believe it was at a Coro dinner, a breakfast. It was at a Coro breakfast, and you and I happened to be sitting at the same table, and we got to know each other, and you told me what your goal was, which was to run for city council, and I said that was also something that I had wanted to do. So that was kind of the first. It was very interesting to talk to you. I remember encouraging you and telling you that also my dad was 26. At that time, he was the youngest man ever elected to the city council. So, and I will tell you that week, that famous week, that 9/11 week, of course, everyone was admiring you, and it's true, you really did show this city what a great, true leader you were. I, of course, the theme song for me was, "Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?" But, I don't think it was a week. I think my brother got back in 4 days. But you really did step up to the plate and really show, really not just Los Angeles, but this country, what you were made of. And you have got some amazing qualities. It's clear they've come from both your mom and your dad. that is really who you are, is what they both are and what they've become and what they've taught you. And that's really special to see you this morning and see how touched they are by the love. You know, I think for parents, it's always great to see this kind of love showered on their children. So you really have been a great leader. You and I are certainly friends. No matter what happened, you've always been a good friend of mine, and you've always been there for me when I've needed you. And you're going to do great in Sacramento. We're so proud of you. Don't forget us. We know you're going to fight for us. So congratulations, Alex. You're going to do great.
I get to speak from up here as you are standing there, and just want to add my congratulations. I've known you since you worked for Dianne Feinstein and on the Building and Safety Commission, and I knew then Alex was going to do great things. He was everywhere, talking to everyone. One thing that you've never forgotten, Alex, is your community and where you came from. And so many people have talked about your family, but your neighborhoods. And you could tell any of us where a problem was and how you solved it and which street needed more help and where you would put LABD resources. And I think that's clear where you see so many people here today supporting you, and in your election to the state senate. You have the love and admiration and commitment from your community and neighborhoods. Now, Janice and I, though, might give a run for the money for those San Fernando High School cheerleaders. I'm not sure, though, I could have ever done that. Could you have done that, Janice? Oh, you could. Oh, you could have gotten up there. Okay. As a Kennedy, competitor of San Fernando High. But Alex, you have just been an amazing friend to me as well, and given advice. I'd also like to ask the crowd, how many of you have been to breakfast at that restaurant with Alex Padilla? A lot of us. He always made it clear he wanted to, when he met with you, to meet in his community, to show the neighborhoods and to do that. And you have been a good friend of mine, and I know after you were elected, we talked about how we can do even more together to support the city of Los Angeles. So as we saw at the end of that video, to be continued, we have high hopes and aspirations for you. I know your family does, and as now a mother of a little boy, I only hope that my son can grow up to be like Alex and be as proud as his parents are. When I met his dad at the restaurant, he came over to me and said, Alex Padilla is my father, and you could just see his smile and the fact that he was so very proud of you and your mother, and her tearful thank you to you in that video. It will be something you will always treasure, and we will treasure the time we spent with you here in City Council. I'll miss those big hugs that you give us, those big bear hugs, as the tallest and I think one that has been a great asset to the City Council. Congratulations to you all. Congratulations from the entire City Council. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to move this along, and I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm going to invite some community members and also some elected officials to come up to this podium and say a few words. I do apologize to you speakers, but we're going to give you about 30 seconds to say thank you to Alex Padilla. First, we have Margaret Lamott, school board member from our school district. Here she is.
Alex, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Unified School District for your leadership. Although the report was not implemented in its entirety, you did not compromise your dignity, and you did not compromise anything but yourself in giving so much, and much of what is in that report will reverberate for years and have a positive effect on the students of this city, thanks to you.
Next, we have Eloisa Clementich, who is representing the California League of Cities, where Alex served as their president up until about a month ago.
Wow, everybody said such nice things about you, Alex. On behalf of the League of California Cities and 2 board members that are here, Wendy and Tony, we want to thank you for your leadership, for your guidance as we had a tough election year this cycle, and also thank you for everything you've done on behalf of all the cities. And personally, sigue adelante.
Next, we have from the community, from the National Association of Latino Elected Officials, Efrain Escobedo. Is he still here? Okay, he stepped away. I'll call him back later. Esther Schiller from Smoke Free Los Angeles. She's still here? Okay. We're at the Academy Awards. Everybody stepped out to the bathroom when their name gets called. There she is.
Alex. My name is Esther Schiller. I'm Executive Director of Safe Smoke-Free Air for Everyone. You all remember Marvin Browdy, who began to protect this city from tobacco smoke, and I'm so proud to say that Alex picked up what Marvin put down and carried it further, protecting children from tobacco, from starting to smoke with retail licensing, protecting us from black market cigarettes, and especially understanding the problem of drifting tobacco smoke in apartments. Alex, thank you so much.
Thank you. More to do at the state.
The question is, now that Alex is going to Sacramento, who on the City Council will pick up this cause? It's an important public health cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Antonio Sanchez from the San Fernando Valley MAPA, Vice President. Here he comes. And to get ready to speak after him is Chile Nakamura.
Buenos dias, councils. Good morning, councils. I'm Antonio Sanchez. I'm current Vice President of San Fernando Valley MAPA. I'm going to speak on behalf of our members and also my person. I want to say thank you, Alex, for all your work. You know, you're standing always for us. You're standing always for the youth people. We have an example here, and thank you. And you're a good leader, and I want to follow you.
Thank you. Gracias. Chile Nakamura. Chile.
Hi. I know he gave me only 30 seconds because he knows that I talk a lot. So, but Alex, I really thank you for helping us in our school where our children with PTA, the PTA is in a lot of need. I thank you for letting me know your knowledge and helping all the parents and everything we need. I miss you, but I hope you're gonna be closer to us now and that you can help the children and the parents and more educational programs. I really miss you a lot.
Next, we have Bobby Arias, and then Blinky Rodriguez will speak after Bobby.
Alex, it's my pleasure. I'm 57 years old and from Pacoima and EOP alum. And to see you and your youth and your leadership, Alex, it's special. It's special for our community. I want to thank you and let people know that he takes on causes that people give up on. When you called me and said, let's save the Richie Valens Festival and preserve his memory, we did that. And it was my band, Los Dudes, who had the pleasure of playing at your victory celebration for Senate. And I think it was Carlos Fuentes who said, I alone know what I'm capable of doing. To others, I'm but a perhaps. And I think that you're an inspiration for our children. I want you to know we will always be there for you because you have been for kids that people have given up on. God bless you.
Thank you, brother.
Just had to take this opportunity, Alex, to thank you for just being here for us in every way. Some of the tough issues You're going to Sacramento now, brother. We need a champion up there. Please don't forget the work of hardcore gang intervention. There's nothing more desperate than the howling cries of a mom. And I'll tell you, every time I see you with your mom, it makes me want to weep because you personify. I mean, you can't make light of it. Everyone has said it, but I have to say it. The love of a mother and the love that you show, the respect and the humility and all that comes with what society has lost, I see that in you. That speaks louder than anything else. And it really does, man. There's a lot to say about that. I want to end this with a little corito, and a Mexican song that goes like this. Te vas y te vas y te vas y no te has ido.
I've never seen that.
I can't sing, so I'm not going to try to translate that. The room would empty. Next, we have a wonderful community member, someone that many of us know and cherish as a friend, and that's Bruce Corwin. Bruce?
There would not be a children's museum anywhere in the city of Los Angeles had it not been for this man. He did it. He said he would build it. He helped build it. The walls are up, and it's all because of Alex Padilla. And there's a 2-year-old girl sitting in front of me by the name of Cassandra Segovia. Would you please stand? There she is. And she's going to be going to the Children's Museum in the San Fernando Valley because of Alex Padilla.
Next, we have Beverly Miller, and then Rosie Santana should get ready to speak after Beverly.
Hi, my name is Beverly Miller, and I'm with MASEED, Mothers Against Social, Economical, Educational Decline. And today, I want to say that I'm very proud of Alex. When I first moved to the city of Pacoima, I was afraid and ashamed to say where I lived. And I would never tell anybody. They'd say, "Where do you live?" And I would say Hanson Hills because I was ashamed of the area that I came from. But today, I am proud to say that I am from Pacoima because of you. So proud. And we are going to continue to make that city a legacy that you came from there, and we're going to make it safer and make it better. As community members, we're going to work together to preserve what you've already started there. Thank you very much for making us proud to be Pacoimians. Thank you.
Rosie Santana.
Hey, we meet again.
Hi, Alex. I just want to say thank you to Alex. Everybody has talked about a greater scale what he has done, but what he has done in the community of Pacoima is huge, and it will continue to be huge. He has touched the life of many students at Discovery Prep. He came year after year to speak with our students about his background, his career, and I know a lot of our students had identified with him and look up to him, and I know that he's creating leaders, and we really appreciate you for that, for everything you have done to us, with us, Alex. The football team and everything, you sending your staff to work with us. We really appreciate every support that you have given us, and I know that this is not a goodbye. This is just that keep on going because we are right behind you. Good luck. Thanks, Alex.
I'm Matt McCara from Discovery Charter Prep School. I want to thank Alex for his help and support in opening LA Unified's first startup charter high school, as well as Pacoima's first high school. It's been instrumental, and the school's growing, and the kids from Pacoima are getting opportunities to go to top schools like MIT and Penn because of Alex's assistance and help.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Next, we have Ed Rose, and after Ed Rose, it'll be Phyllis Hines. Ed?
Hey, I'm representing an organization called MEND,
It's an acronym meaning Meet Each Need with Dignity, and we are a nonprofit poverty agency in Pacoima. And Alex, I just wanted to thank you for your support all these years. I actually probably should thank your mother too for asking or directing you toward our way when you were 12 and you had to do your confirmation hours. But your support, especially for our building our center, has been really great and phenomenal. It's really helped inspire us. In fact, we were discussing your support at a board meeting not too long ago, and one lady said, well, he's a saint. Alex, I wouldn't go that far. But I'd like to say you're one fine gentleman, and we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Good to see you. I'm here representing the community of Lakeview Terrace, and we have a great big thank you to Alex for all he's done for our community, especially how he has represented us in your city council chamber. But our biggest thanks, and we're so grateful for the part he played in bringing us the Lakeview Terrace Library, and another wonderful addition to our community, the Children's Museum. Alex, we can't thank you enough, and we wish you the best in Sacramento, and I hope you do as good a job there as you've done for us here. Thank you.
Sharon Garrett. Your first name?
Good morning, everyone. I'm standing here in three hats, one for the Defense Logistics Agency, Department of Defense, then that as the president of the San Fernando Valley Branch NAACP, and finally for myself. So we're going to make this real quick and cut out one of their things. So on behalf of Captain James Rainwater of the Defense Logistics Defense Contracts Management Agency, now located in Sepulveda, California. We took time to find out that in your district, Alex, there are 176 men and women assigned in Iraq right now, and that is a large number for that size of district. And so on behalf of them, we say congratulations, and that our commander did take the time to make them aware of what's going on in their area. And the programs that we're running in that district area, I'm glad to say that we have been instrumental utilizing Alex's staff, Kaim Morton, and we're just great, and we love you, and we're going to still be working with you. And I'm going to now turn this to Jamal Watkins, who is the Regional Director of the NAACP.
So, Mr. Padilla, I'm going to be brief. The NAACP is very proud of you, and we're proud of the partnership that you have exhibited in the San Fernando Valley area, and also the future partnerships that you will bring to the greater state of California on your service on behalf of not only the civil rights agenda, but the human rights agenda and the community empowerment agenda that we all believe in strongly. We're very proud, and we salute you. Thank you.
Patricia Segorano de Pierre.
Alex, I'm here just to thank you. This is a great opportunity for me to thank you for all the support. On behalf, I work at Pacoima for 5 years, running a team program. And when I got there, it was amazing how people were crying for unity and hope. And Alex, you came every single event. And one thing that I just wanted to remind you is that the first time that we had this vision about bringing the community and create a unity and peace event, we have the first event, 100 people. You came for the rest of their 5 years, and they even grew up. But you told me the first time that we have it, Patricia, don't get discouraged. This is a good beginning. 100 people is a good number. It counts. And I realized this man has a vision, and he knows what we're trying to accomplish. Your field reps were always supporting us when we started the San Fernando Valley Youth Action Commission. I want to thank you for your family, for your brother. They work with these kids. Christopher, we went camping overnight. They sleep with us on the floor, and they just represent you so well. So I'm very happy that everything you're going to do, I have no doubts that you're going to do great, and your team is perfect for all the things that you're going to continue to accomplish, and you're in the right path. The youth is the hope for LA. It's our future. So thank you for embracing them, and thank you for supporting us all the way.
Gracias.
God bless you.
Make it quick.
Mr. Padilla, thank you very much. I'm part of the Pacoima Neighborhood Council, as you might know. Something I would like to say is thank you and your staff for the hard work and dedication that you had throughout the years in Council District 7. They're hard workers, and something I will never forget is the inauguration of us onto the position of the Pacoima Neighborhood Council. You actually attended, and you gave us our oath. So thank you.
Good work.
Good luck.
Next, we have Edwin Ramirez with the Pacoima Neighborhood Council.
Mr. President.
Thank you for the opportunity. Name is Edwin Ramirez, President of the Pacoima Neighborhood Council, and I want to say thanks for all the hard work. I don't want to talk about your global accomplishments. You have a very well-deserved credit. I do want to say, however, that one of your minor accomplishments is getting the right staff to represent you on the field. From Janice, who always found the time for me to meet with you and plan for the improvements in Pacoima. From Ackley, who was always present at every meeting we had. From Caim, who always helped us, advise us in finding the right way to even present something. I know that from men, Pacoima Partners, Pacoima Beautiful, from the Chamber of Commerce, from Pacoima Neighborhood Council, every organization in Pacoima has a lot to be thankful for. And that includes your staff members. That were always there for us. I wish you good luck. I heard you had big shoes to fill when you came into the council. Whoever is coming in your place have even bigger shoes to fill. It has been a pleasure and an honor to work with you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And thank you.
Efraín Escobedo. Tony Swan, North Hills Community Council.
My name is Tony Swan from North Hills Community Coordinating Council, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Alex Padilla. Enough has been said. I can't beat what has been said before, so I won't even start. But this council is concerned about how neighborhood councils will work, and I asked you to look how Alex has managed his neighborhood councils. We're not part of the city group, but he's met whenever we wanted him to. His staff have been very, very helpful. With his help, we got the CLEAR program, which turned North Hills around. We're not the gang capital now of the valley, thankfully. We now have businesses there, new business, even the Starbucks. The Starbucks in North Hills is fantastic. But it is because Alex has allowed his staff to work with the community, has encouraged the community, and has listened to them. And I'm here today to thank him for all his efforts.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. We're down to the last two cards. Elizabeth Badger.
On behalf of the Minority Outreach Committee, I am so blessed that you are my friend, and we are so thankful that he has committed his time and, more importantly, his money to our organization, and we are so grateful to you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you Sunday at your inauguration.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glenn Bell. There we go. And after Glenn will be Irene Tovar.
Thank you, Alex. My name is Glenn Bell. I'm president of Los Angeles District of Neighborhood Friends. We're a small but mighty coalition of manufactured homeowners throughout the state of California. And we would like to take this time to thank Mr. Padilla, soon-to-be Senator Padilla, and his staff, and all the people who have worked so tirelessly on what we're dealing with right now. And we know that with his effort and energy and vision, he will be able to do some great things for over 1 million people in the state of California that are right now in a very, very bad way. So on behalf of him, and I hope to be in front of you again, and maybe we can all do some good things together for a lot of people. Thank you very much. And Alex, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Sammy Taylor. I'm also a representative of Neighborhood Friends. I'd like to thank Alex Padilla and his staff for being on the cutting edge of the affordable housing issue for Los Angeles County. On behalf of all of the manufactured homeowners in Los Angeles County and in the state of California, we applaud you for your commitment and your vision of what really needs to be done, your solid commitment to helping the people who are currently in affordable housing but are very much at risk of becoming homeless. Thank you, Alex Padilla and your staff, for all of your good work.
Irene Tovar.
As the last speaker, it's very difficult to say anything that hasn't been said before. All I can say is that I've lived in the 7th Councilmanic District all of my life, actively all of my life, supported every single city council person in that district. And I can say, without doubt, that the man, and we've never had a woman, who has produced something in that district, which is the most challenging district, has been Alex Padilla. All of you have said a well-deserved tribute. But the one that shocked the newspaper people and called me was that, is it true that there aren't any unpaved streets in, Pacoima? I said, of course. I said, but no one has ever respected the citizens of the 7th Councilmanic District to make a difference. Alex has made a difference in every aspect of the challenges of that district, which is poverty, housing, transportation, trees, everything. My deepest respect to him, but an Alex Padilla cannot exist unless there's been a wonderful family behind him. And it's that family that has created the wonderful leadership that we will see also in state government. I don't say farewell to you, Alex. I just know that you will continue to do the wonderful work that you did in the 7th, that you will carry it on the state level. Thank you so very, very much. And I'm proud of the leadership. And not only is he a role model for youth, but he's respected by people of all ages, and that is rather unique in our district. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you for everything. It's only appropriate that Dr. Joyce Ritchie from USC come forward and give her thanks to Alex. Alex has raised over $1 million for the American Diabetes Association and has served as their local chair as well. And diabetes has affected his family and mine and too many families, so his efforts are definitely to be commended.
Good afternoon. It's indeed an honor to stand before you today to honor someone like Alex Padilla. Let me just say, as the immediate past president of the American Diabetes Association, I have noticed that anything that Alex is involved in, he has seemed to raise the bar. One of our big fundraisers is the political roast, and when Alex was roasted, let me just say that he created a standard that is pretty hard to follow. Also, I would like to add that when Alex joined the board, I thought that he would probably be one of those politicians that would just lend his name, but I was so mistaken. Alex attends every meeting. He is now the chairman of the Los Angeles American Diabetes Association Leadership Council, and he's out there fighting this tireless fight to combat diabetes, because we know that it's not just a Los Angeles problem, it's not a state problem, it's a global problem. And Alex, I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the hard work that you have shown, and I know that we expect great things from you as you go to the state Senate. So once again, on behalf of the Los Angeles Leadership Council, I thank you, and we all thank you.
My name is Sandra Siegel-Poland, and I am also a volunteer of the American Diabetes Association. But more important, I am one of 21 million Americans with diabetes. And so Alex's influence, public service, and involvement with the American Diabetes Association goes well beyond Los Angeles and California to all of us. And I can't thank you enough for all of your public service and involvement. And I know it will help someday for your family and hopefully for mine to find a cure. Thank you.
Okay. All right. It's now my pleasure and honor to say just a few words about Alex Padilla. Alex and I met just over 10 years ago, and he ran my campaign when I ran for the State Assembly. I didn't know what I was doing. Alex Padilla had never run a campaign before, but we met. We realized we were from the same community. We had similar backgrounds. We wanted the same thing for our constituents and our neighbors and our families. We just wanted respect for the community. We just knew that we had to have a voice, a change of a voice. And Alex Padilla stood up and shook my hand and told me, if you run, I will work for you. He graduated from MIT. He graduated from the Coro program, and I could only pay him $1,500 a month to work on my campaign for over a year. He turned down job offers of $60,000, $70,000, and $80,000 a year and more in a promising career in the private sector, and he did that not only for me, he did it for the community. Alex Padilla has the ability to look past the simple things and to see the complicated things and to see the big picture. Alex Padilla is a big picture guy. Alex Padilla is a very humble human being. When you look into the eyes of his mother and father, you see Alex Padilla. You see someone who learned what it is to work hard, to dedicate yourself, to sacrifice, and to give, and to give without asking for anything in return. To me, it's touching to see so many people come from the community to say thank you to a public servant. Alex Padilla has raised the bar, as many people have, but not everyone has. He's raised the bar of public servitude. He has raised the bar by being humble. He has raised the bar by being smart. He has raised the bar by showing initiative. He's raised the bar by taking risks on behalf of the community to the detriment of his own political career. And it has served him well. It serves the community well. I am honored to call Alex Padilla my friend. I am honored to say that I know his family. And I am honored that he has represented so well the humble home that my parents raised 11 children in, that we didn't have the curbs and gutters that we have today. Because of Alex Padilla, we finally have those things. Where my mother used to walk to church, we now have curbs, we now have sidewalks. We waited for decades for Alex Padilla. And with honor, we send him to the state legislature, and I know, as you know Herb Wesson, he's going to do a wonderful job. The phone is always there for you, Alex, and I want to say this in jest. When Alex Padilla was a councilman, he called me when I was the budget chairman, and I forwarded to his district millions upon millions and millions of dollars. Alex, it's payback time. I am going to ask of you that you do the same for the San Fernando Valley, for my district, and the 7th Council District, and I know you will. You are capable, you are giving, you are humble, and you are a public servant that will serve us, and we will use you. As he stands today, he has to sit down Because I've known Alex Padilla for a long time. I've never known him to be in bed for more than one day when he gets sick. He's been in bed for a week. That's how much it means to him to pay his respects to the community who showed up for him. So Alex, God bless you. We're going to miss you here in the chambers, but we know we're always going to be in your life and you're going to be in ours. So before I introduce Alex, I'd like to introduce his sister. Come on forward. Julie Padilla, who's also a teacher at San Fernando High School. There's a theme here about San Fernando High School, a wonderful, beautiful place that nurtures wonderful people like the Padilla family. Julie, now it's your turn.
Good morning, and yes, I was actually going to start off by saying how befitting it is that we have our award-winning band here with us this morning to perform for Alex. And the cheerleaders actually were very eager to come because they had come up with this cheer for Alex. And I was talking to Aclay, our youngest brother, yesterday, and the two of us were wondering if the cheerleaders intended to get Alex to climb to the top of their pyramid, possibly even drop him and try to catch him on the way down. But San Fernando also is being represented today by our student government. And so I want to thank them. These students actually sacrificed a day of school to be here today. Must be tough. I know many people have said wonderful things about my parents, and they are all very true. And I didn't know how long I was going to be able to talk before this happened and I cracked, but I'm sure you're all familiar with, if you love something, set it free, and if it comes back to you, it is yours. And on several occasions, our family has had to let Alex go. The first time was when he left to school. My family has a very, very close bond, and so when he left to Massachusetts, it was quite devastating. But what happened? He came back. He came back because he's not only ours in the family, but he belongs to Pacoima and to the community. And for those of you who don't know the rest of my family, I came back to San Fernando High School, and my brother Aclay is also working for the city in the 7th District. So for all the sacrifices that my family and my parents made, we've all come back for the same purpose, because we love where we come from and we give to make it better. We love our kids, we love our students. My son, who couldn't be here today because he made a commitment to volunteer in a kindergarten classroom, is doing the same. So I want to thank every single person who came out from Pacoima and from every area of the 7th District this morning to battle through traffic in the cold weather, to sit here for literally hours, to listen to people talk and praise my little brother, and I'm wearing platform heels. Thank you all, and we truly, truly do love and appreciate all of you. And he says that I am his favorite sister, by the way.
And with that, I will give the podium to our friend and part of the city of Los Angeles family, someone who grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and like his sister said very accurately, he had plenty of opportunities to go far and beyond, and he always came home to serve his community. And on behalf of my family, my wife Norma and our children, I want to say thank you, Alex, for being a friend. Thank you so much for teaching me. Alex says I gave him his start in politics or what have you. Alex, I listen to you, I cherish what you have to give to me, and I cherish your friendship, and you're a wonderful leader to many of us, even though most of us are older than you. Thank you.
Okay. I get 2 minutes? Well, first of all, let me just say that when the doctor tells you to get a flu shot, you get a flu shot. Although that wouldn't help me because I'm not in that demographic. Driving in this morning with my brother, who's gone above and beyond the call of duty this last week, I wasn't sure if I'd even have the energy for the emotions this morning, but rest assured, they're there. Thank you. Just thank you to all of you. When obviously, like was part of the clip earlier when I first became council president, elected by my colleagues around this horseshoe, thank God for the tremendous blessings and opportunities that he's bestowed upon not just myself but my family and life. And as my sister just began to scratch the surface on, I want to thank my family because I know they've sacrificed as well. They're not always out there at every event, but they know when I'm not home. And that's part of their sacrifice. And I think each and every person around this horseshoe, each and every person in elected office knows what that's like. I want to thank my staff. And actually, I want to ask my family and my staff to join me at this time because I don't stand here by myself. You guys know that. Everybody, come on. That goes for former staff too. I saw Luisa here and John Lee. Is he still here? See, once you get an appreciation for what the size of the family and the staff together looks like, then you begin to get an appreciation for how much easier it is to do great things. But to my 7th Council District staff, to my political staff, I saw Rose and Yvette back there, and I don't know if Charlie and Ann and Maureen are here from the fundraising staff. I would just want to say thank you for everything that you've done to help turn my occasional, I have an idea, into a motion, into a project, into a reality. I want to thank the community because without them, the various things you saw in the videos or that you've heard spoken about this morning wouldn't have happened either. You know, we each come here as council members, 1 of 15. But we know that it takes at least 8 votes to make anything happen. And when you're 1 of 15 and there's 15 different ideas, it's kind of hard to get over the hump. But when you're 1 of 15 and you have people standing behind you, whether there's parents in the community, whether it's young people, whether it's nonprofit organizations, whether it's neighborhood councils, whether it's anybody else, standing behind you, then the rest of the council, the rest of the city feels the force and generates the support necessary to do the things, large and small, that makes people's lives better. And I want to take a moment to thank you colleagues as well, because as much as the people of the 7th Council District took a chance on a 26-year-old back in 1999 to elect a 26-year-old to the Los Angeles City Council to say our best shot for good representation, our best shot at turning our community around in 1999 was a 26-year-old who had never run for office before, didn't have a degree in law or political science or anything like that. So too did this city council in 2001 when you elected me, half of you were here, to the presidency to serve not just my district but the city and to represent not just this city but each and every one of you specifically. And we've been through a lot. Again, a lot of you have spoken on it, and you saw the videos from the Rampart situation and the negotiation of a consent decree, and I know Cindy Misikowski's here, to 9/11, to measures F and Q and O, to hosting the Democratic Convention. I wasn't president then, but I was here at the time. I don't think anybody else here can say that. This city has been through a lot, and I think our city is in a much better place today than it was when I came onto the city council. And at the end of the day, that's really all my goal really has been, to be able to look back years from now, decades from now, of my time on the city council, and first look at the 7th District and ask the people of the 7th District of what their quality of life is like, and for people to be proud, for people to feel better, for people to say, you know what, life is better in part because of some of the things that happened when Alex Padilla was a councilman. and by extension, for the people of Los Angeles to say, yeah, our city is better. And I've had, during this tenure, an opportunity to serve with 2 different city controllers, 2 different city attorneys, 3 different mayors, and 30 different members of this city council. And I hope that years from now, the people of Los Angeles look back and say, yes, our city is better and stronger because of some of the things that happened during that time period of 1999 to 2006. I'm mustering up all the energy I can right now. This isn't how I would have scripted my last day here. But let me just share a couple of stories that I shared at a community gathering just a couple of weeks ago that I think speak a lot about my family and what drives me. Because some of you have spoken about getting to know me, and if you know Alex Padilla or the Padilla family, then you might have figured it out. You know, I really do think that at the end of the day, I'm not that complicated. You know, public service is a big sacrifice, but if you're grounded in a basic set of core values, most decisions are easy. And what we do on a day-to-day basis to do well by the people of Los Angeles shouldn't be that complicated. The first story I shared was about my father, who, was it about a year and a half ago? He started teasing us with the idea of retiring. Well, if you know my dad, you know that his life's values and how hard he works each and every day. So it took the family a little bit by surprise when we heard him utter the word retirement through his lips. And at first, I thought, it's too good to be true. It's not going to happen. No, but he talked about it. No, in another year, maybe 6 months, I've done some calculations, Social Security, this and that, I'm going to retire. Well, his timeline was May, last May. My dad's not retired. He's still working, and he's going to be working for a long, long time. But that's, if you're wondering where I get my work ethic from, that's where it comes from. The other story that I shared, and it was at the Missionary Police Station, I think Captain Contra had to leave, was about something that happened on more than one occasion growing up. And I was young. I think my parents were surprised that I actually even remembered this. You know, we'd be sitting down for dinner on a random evening, summertime, wintertime, get a knock on the door at our home in Pacoima, complete strangers at the door with requests, with something to ask. You see, they had come across the border. We didn't ask how. They were making their way north in search for a job or in search of family. And they were hungry. And they had nothing to eat, nowhere to rest, and nowhere to sleep. And I was watching my parents always open the door, always add another chair to the table, and always provide for a place to rest. That instilled in me the meaning of giving to others. See, we grew up poor. We didn't realize we were poor at the time, but we grew up poor. But no matter how tough we had it in life, we were reminded that there was others who had it tougher. And so it is with public service. You know, we represent 15 very different districts around this city, with 15 very different needs, very different political backgrounds, 15 very different constituencies. And no matter what kind of complaint you can imagine, there's always somebody else out there who has it tougher. And if you've seen me around this horseshoe, sometimes quiet, I know I'm not the one who speaks the most often or most loudly, it's just because of that. I know I have my work cut out for me. I know I have a job to do here for the people of the 7th District and for the entire city, and soon at the state Senate level. But first of all, I just thank God for the blessing that he has brought upon me and the city of Los Angeles, because we know that there's people and places around the world that have it that much tougher. And it makes us appreciate our democracy. It makes us appreciate this country that much more. The other part about helping others, it just reminds me about a couple of questions I've been getting asked a lot of recently. Why run for the state Senate? Why run for the state Senate? Why run for higher office? Don't you love your job on the city council in Los Angeles? I do love my job here at the city council. But why run for state Senate is not the right question. Why run is the question. Why do each and any one of us run for office, given the workload that's entailed, given the sacrifices that we make? Why run for office? And I think if we asked ourselves, the 15 around this horseshoe right now, why run for office, we would actually all have the same answer, and it is to help people. We have a blessed opportunity each and every morning to wake up, drive to work, and help people, whether it's as simple as make sure that pothole we saw on the way to work this morning gets filled sooner than it might otherwise have been, whether it's gang activities on the rise in a certain neighborhood and we want to work with our police department to do something about it, whether it's expanding our libraries and our programs for kids through our parks because they deserve just as much, if not more, opportunity than we had growing up, whether it's bringing sewer service, something as simple as sewer service to homes that never had it before. In the city of Los Angeles, in the year 2006, we get to do something about making people's lives better. And I hope that as I bid my farewell to the city council and take on my new responsibilities at the state, you all remember me once in a while as having either sat right there or sat right there, and after today have a glimpse more of what made me tick and what motivates me to get out of bed every morning, even with the fever, to come to work, to do my part in helping my community be a little bit better, people's lives a little bit better, and the city of Los Angeles a little bit better. I've been very, very proud of it. I walk with my head high after thinking about what the last 7 years have been like. Yes, we've had our ups and downs, but I'm tremendously proud and honored to have had the opportunities that I've had. I thank each and every one of you again for being a colleague, for being friends, and for the tremendous commitment that you all give. I know the commitment that you all give to this city and to your job. You will have an open door in the state capitol. I am just a phone call away. And Tony, those calls went both ways, my friend. Sometimes I would call you, but I was subject to those 3 o'clock in the morning phone calls from you. I'm in Bob Hertzberg's office. We just found $3 more million. Do you have a project we can send this to? And then I would get to call Mark Dierke. Hey, Mark, call Jose Cornejo in Sacramento. They need a project description for some more money to come down. So I look forward to reciprocating that generosity now that it looks like our state budget is plateauing a little bit. But seriously, colleagues, what we do is a very, very special opportunity that very, very few people in the world will ever have. And I hope that we live up to it by how we conduct ourselves. I hope we live up to that special opportunity by what we deliver for our constituents. And I hope we live up to it by sharing the love of people and helping people. Thank you very much.
So, in one last thing, we know that Alex has gathered more frequent flyer miles going back and forth to Sacramento as the president of the California League of Cities, as a board member of the National League of Cities, and representing our city in the world than many people have in Los Angeles. We also learned from his loved ones and his staff members, he still doesn't have a really good piece of luggage. So we know that you're going to be traveling back and forth, and so this entire city council chipped in together to buy you a beautiful, personalized piece of luggage to carry not only your things back and forth, but our good wishes every single time you travel back and forth between Los Angeles and Sacramento. So on behalf of the council, we wanted to present this to you. And thank Alex Padilla for everything he's done.
So can you tell him more about this?
And we thought we'd commemorate this day as well, if I can ask all the members to come to the well here, and we'll take a picture with Alex on his last day.
Is that what it's called, the well?
In the well, right
I thought it
here.
was the ring.
And God bless Alex Padilla. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we can ask all council members who have served or are fans of Alex at any time to please join us. We'd love to have you.
Oh, Rita's here.
Thank you, colleagues. And we will return to the regular agenda in just one moment. There is a reception, I believe, in the forecourt to thank the members of the community who have come here today, and we invite them to join us in the forecourt, and we will resume the agenda shortly.
There's a reception outside in the rotunda and on the patio area on this floor level for all the guests who came to honor Alex Padilla. There's outside the chambers, as you go through the big, beautiful rotunda, to your left, there's a reception, okay? Right now for everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cardenas, and thank you to all of our guests who came here for Mr. Padilla's ceremony today. We appreciate it, and we will return now to the council agenda. And if I could ask the Sergeant at Arms to assist us in escorting folks to the reception. We do have a commissioner to hear a reappointment. And yes, Mr. Labange, did you want to take up any of the items that you had previous questions
Yeah,
about?
on the 7th, the CAO's office did an excellent job explaining to me the report, so I don't need to have that special anymore, so you can move on that. Also, number 13, the Department of Transportation, smart parking lot. I want to look at the one on large. Number 9 is the smart parking lot. I want to look at that. And then there's the other one.
So you want to move that ahead as well?
Continue 1 week.
Continue,
Just because
okay.
they're going to come back. They're going to look at a Largemont.
Okay.
And the last one,
It's number
9, is, Mr. Clerk, what is the last day that we have to act on that?
You have number 16 is your other one. That is,
Okay.
number 16 is the smart parking meter pilot program. That's the one you want to
16.
continue?
Continue 1 week.
Okay.
Because I'm going to look
So
at
16 will, if there's no objection, we'll continue item number 16 for 1 week. That will take us to December 6th, which is the recess. So would you prefer to do 2 weeks, the 15th?
Yeah, whatever you think,
Okay.
Mr. President.
December 15th, if there's no objection, we'll continue item number 16 until, is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, and number 7, why don't we open the roll on number 7, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
And thank the CAO's office on item number 7 for their
Absolutely,
answers.
and that leaves us with number 9.
Mr. President, I was going to
Yeah.
say, on item number 13, we'll just hold that over till Friday because the city attorney does not have the ordinance with
Okay.
the amendment we are proposing, so
Okay.
we will hold that over till,
There's no objection.
Friday.
We
Mr.
will
City Attorney,
hold
is
number
that-
13 until December 1st. That'll be in Van Nuys, the meeting, okay?
Will it be agendized as the new ordinance on Friday then?
whatever you recommend.
Okay, that will be the recommendation
Okay.
then. And we'll wait on number 9 then for Mr. Labange? Unless he had questions on that one still. That was the Whitley Avenue Historic Monument issue. Did you want to take that up still?
No, Mr. President, members, item number 9, which is the one on Whitley Avenue.
Right.
Both parties, this is to try to find a successful buyer for a historic building, are in my conference room right outside chambers right
Okay.
now. May I run over there to see if I could put the two together and run back? And
Yes, our attendant says okay if you'd like to
Yeah,
do that, and
I'll
we'll
be
just
right
hold
back.
that on the table. Okay. So we'll hold number 9 on the table as well. I'd like to ask our commissioner, who's been very patient, Maria Rangel, who is here, for, Housing Authority, if she'd like to, I'd like to recognize the chair from our Housing Committee. If Mr. Wesson would like to say anything. If not, why don't you tell us your interest in the reappointment and want to thank you again for your service to the community, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, my interest has been, it's been a pleasure serving for the Housing Authority as a commissioner for the past 8 years. Being a resident of public housing for over 20 years, I think that serving the communities is one of my biggest goals.
Well, thank you very much for doing that, and you've had an exemplary record of service, and I know that the Housing Committee felt that way unanimously and have it before us. So if anybody else wishes to be heard, Mr. Huizar?
We're adding a wealth of experience here and continuing that service, so I want to thank you. I think you've shown through the work you've done throughout the community that your commitment to bettering the lives of people and the service you've done. So I think your value to this commission is really appreciated. Thank you so much for the work you do.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. So with that, why don't we open the roll on the reappointment, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Congratulations again. Thank you for your
Thank
patience,
you.
and welcome back. It's wonderful to
Thank
have
you.
you continuing your service. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Commissioner. That's forthwith, if there's no objection, please, on that. Let's take up item 23 now, which we've had a substitute motion. Anybody wishing to be heard on 23? If not, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. That leaves us with, we had two items. There was a fire drill out in Van Nuys that precluded the cards getting in when we had voted on it, so I'd like to reopen 18 and 22. If we can please open the roll on reconsideration on 18 and 22. So, okay, open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those are both before us, and I'd like to go out to Van Nuys, if we may, and items 22 and 18 we'll take together. Mr. Dog, if you'd like to comment on those two right now, thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Eric, first of all, for reconsidering that. I do appreciate it. How funny, the first time I come to Van Nuys, they pull a fire drill, man. I was trying to keep it calm. Wow, did I pick the wrong day to come to Van Nuys? I'm missing out on the Alex Padilla free food. Matt, please get me a doggy bag, but let's talk about some great things in the city on this great day in Los Angeles. On 18, let's run through some of these events. We'd like to have people come out in the community. First of all, Councilman Huizar's first annual Winter Wonderland. That's going to be Saturday, December 3rd. Meet Zuma Dog and Councilmember Huizar. It's going to be the tree lighting ceremony right there in his district. A fine event. Very much thank you, Los Angeles. That's a special event fee worth waiving. Secondly, we have the Miracle on First Street, December 9th. That's a special event, and I say we should absorb those fees, because that's a wonderful event to absorb the fees for, so please come out to that. If you're in Smith's district, we have the Jewish Home for Aging Walk, and that will be December 3rd, Saturday as well. We got a lot of things on Saturday, and please come out for that. Worth picking up the special event fee. Children's Old-Fashioned Christmas, December 1st, a special event fee to be waived. Also, Huizar and Smith, thank you so much for that. Eric Garcetti's district, we have the Echo Park Holiday Parade, December 9th, a special event. Let's waive those fees, y'all, because that's an excellent community event. What a great day in the city of Los Angeles. Zuma Dog's been speaking out against the injustices and abuse of the special event fees. And look at everything's good there. I can't even find anything to talk bad about. So let's keep on reading. We got for Parks, for Perry, we got the Career and Technical Education Awareness. That's December 5th, and we need more career and technical awareness in this city. So that's an event worth waiving the fee for. And Concert for the Homeless, December 2nd and 3rd. Maybe the homeless candidate for city council, Zuma Dog, can make an appearance there and perform, and we should waive the fee for that. So I just ran down A through H, and what a pleasure it is. Thank you, City Council. I couldn't find one shady or corrupt abuse. A great day for the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything you wanted to say on item 22?
Yes, item 22, I'd just like to clarify that relative to amending a personal services contract for Raymond Mellon, I called over to Councilmember Labange's office. I didn't know what it was about, and that is for a traffic consultant. So that's good news because we do need some traffic consulting. We have infrastructure problems. The problem is I asked how much it's going to cost. They said $5,000 to whatever. And then I go, well, gee, is there a cap on whatever? And she's like, no, that's all the time I'm going to take answering your questions. Click. So we just need to find out what the cap on whatever is for this traffic consultant. And I didn't appreciate being hung up on for a simple question, but it looks like we'll be getting a traffic consultant to be working with Councilmember Labange. So that's a great thing for the city of Los Angeles. Thank you, Los Angeles.
Thank you, Mr. Dogg. That closes our public comment on both of those. On item 18, we'll take that up first. Mr. Zine, I know you wanted to recuse yourself, so why don't you go ahead and do that right now?
And Mr. President, just for clarification, also 18F should be received and filed.
Okay. So I'll move to receive and file 18F, and Mr. Zine has left the room, so let's open the roll on that, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, and somebody can tell Mr. Zine he's free to return. And on item 22, is it? 22, let's open the roll on that one, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved as well. And Mr. Labange, anything to report on number 9, or you want to still hold on it? Okay. Would you like to?
The last day for council action is Friday, this Friday.
We have the meeting in Van Nuys on Friday. We could continue it too.
Okay, since the last day to act is this Friday, no other Friday, then we'll continue it to this Friday.
Okay. There's no objection. We will continue item number 9 to Friday, December 1st. That'll be at our Van Nuys City Hall meeting. Okay? Yes.
Mr. Clerk, my staff had a different reading on that, but your reading probably better.
The time limit file is December 6th. However, council is in recess next week.
And it
So the
doesn't
last
count- you
day
can't
to
flip it
council
over
to
to the
act
next
is the 1st.
So it has to go in the forward one, it can't go to the next one?
That's correct.
That's what the city attorney says? Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So that is continued. That leaves us with item 25. We did have a public hearing yesterday on item 25. We do have cards on item 25 as well. It will require a motion from a council member to reopen that. There's been the closed session portion, folks have obviously asked to go into executive session for, but is there a motion to open public hearing at this time? Ms. Perry?
Mr. President, I'd be happy to make that motion. There's one additional speaker today, and I'd like to make that motion.
So for any set period of time? We've got a number of cards. Some of them are repeats from yesterday, and some of them are new ones. Any preference of how long we go and
In
whether?
the interest of time, some of the individuals who spoke yesterday, I think, if you'll ask them, are willing to give up their time today, but I know that there is a new speaker who is on her way back in, and if she is not in here at the time, she has someone who wanted to speak in her stead.
Okay. We have 14 cards, so do you want 10 minutes or?
Yeah, 10 minutes
Okay.
to do it.
I know that yesterday we ended, and the top card that was on the pile was Elisa Mathis. If she'd like to come forward as our first speaker, she was the one that we cut off with. Okay, we'll keep that aside.
Recycle her to the bottom of the
Sure.
pile and give her
Okay,
a few
no
minutes.
problem. Your name, sir? Okay. Okay. I'd like to recognize Councilwoman Rita Walters to come forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just very quickly, I observed yesterday's meeting last night on television, and one of the speakers was Arnett Hartsfield, and he only had a couple of minutes to speak. But this is a man who, if he has time to give you his history with the fire department, it would bring tears to all of your eyes. And I have known Mr. Hartsfield for 40-some years. When I was in office, I had the pleasure of helping to push through the restoration of Firehouse 14, old Firehouse 14 on, I believe it's 14, on Central Avenue. to restore that. That was for many, many years the only place where black fire persons were allowed to work. And then that is the place where they could not be in the kitchen at the same time as the white fire people. But, you know, 40 years, 50 years is a long, long time for people who are 40 and 50 years old to continue acting like they're 5 and 6 years old. And I think that Councilman Wesson made an appropriate admonition yesterday when he said it's time to cut out the problems. It's time to get over this, folks. And one of the things as council people that you'll have to consider in terms of what is best for the institution is what is going to be least costly to the institution. When I served here, we had an instance of discrimination that occurred, I believe, in the sanitation department. Anyway, it was the filtering plant out there south of the airport. And the person filed a grievance and came, and there was an offer of a settlement that we did not accept. I do believe he went to court or it got into some legal adjudication, whatever it was. The bottom line was that we wound up paying out about 3 to 4 times as much as we would have had we taken the first offer. This is not a good time. This is not a good matter to deal with. But by the action you take in settling this, you can make it better. And by the actions you take subsequent to this, to see that it does not happen again, whether the person is African American, whether the person is gay, whether the person is Muslim, whether the person is any protected group, or just a plain old citizen. It's time for LA to live up to its billing. We say we're proud of our diversity. Let's show it. Let's make this the last such incident that we have of this sort. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. I've been told Elisa Mathis is back. Is she here? Please.
Good afternoon, Council. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time that you have to hear about the fire department and listen to the testimony on this case. It's so very important to us, and it appears to be very, very important to you as well. My name is Alicia Mathis. I am a captain currently in the LAFD, and I just wanted to say, at Fire Station 5, Tenney Pierce took a stand. He refused to be stripped of his dignity. He refused to be dehumanized. He stood not only for himself, but for all of us, for people of color, for women, members of the LAFD who are subjected to acts of cruelty often beyond our own comprehension, from people who our lives depend on, our comrades and our peers. After Tenney filed his complaint, he was ridiculed, barked at in the halls of our training center. It was made clear that he broke rank. He shed light on things that his coworkers prefer remain quiet. He said, "Stop. Enough is enough." I urge you to grant Tenney and his family this settlement. They have been through enough. The man before you has lost his dignity, his respect, and has had his pride stripped. Restore his life. Give his family some peace. He will never work a day longer in a career that he loved. Those of us that stand and fight this culture make sacrifices, facing uncertainty. Not granting the settlement says to those of us who hold our secrets and our pain, who have been stripped of our dignity, be quiet. Don't speak. Don't work for change. you will not be supported. Every man and woman on this department has faced obstacles to be here. For African Americans, the struggle is even greater, the obstacles more significant, the roadblocks at every turn. We must stand together to change this culture. We ask you to stand with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Celis King, the fourth, is our next speaker. Mr. King, welcome. You still here?
He's not here.
Okay. All right. Eddie Jones.
Hello to the council. Today is a day where you make a very, very serious decision on a human being's life. Mr. Cheney Pierce served as a fireman. Now he's not serving as a fireman. He's been verbally harassed. His name has been slandered. His daughter has been harassed going to school. His son is thinking about leaving the state. Put yourself in his shoes. It's bad enough that he was fed dog food. It's bad enough that he can't work in the field where he wants to work without being verbally harassed. From now until the end of time, when he walks the streets, people are going to look at him because of this incident. I think it's only fair that he is able to take care of his family. I think it's only fair that he not be harassed any more than he already has already. His wife is being harassed, his kids. It's a shame. City of Los Angeles, analyze and evaluate and weigh carefully, because the decision that is made today could be the decision that could weigh very heavy on the city of Los Angeles. Please make the right decision to make sure that this gentleman who has given his life to the city of Los Angeles, let's see what the city of Los Angeles can do for a man who has served his city so well. Please take under consideration that everybody's watching this. It's not just Los Angeles. This is a national issue. And as we all know, racism and discrimination is alive and well in the department, and it needs to be stopped. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Jeannie Harrison.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeannie Harrison. I wanted to address some issues that I observed from the discussion yesterday and make sure that there is some clarity on some of these issues. There seems to be an impression that we have to prove race was involved to win this case. I want to make very clear that that is not accurate. We have three basic claims, one for racial harassment, one for retaliation, and one for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Two of those claims do not require a showing of race. One of them does. We are going to be able to put on all of the same evidence for all three of those claims. We will be able to actually receive all of the same damages under each one of those three claims. So everything that we would actually prove for the racial harassment claim, we will also be proving for retaliation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. So, to the extent that you are concerned about whether or not race was involved, certainly I'm going to try the case to the jury, and I feel confident that I will be able to prove that race was involved. However, I do want to reiterate that the jury does not need to find that race is involved for the city to be in a precarious position at the end of the trial. I also wanted to address the issue of some of these photographs quickly. I believe that I have some very strong arguments regarding why the photographs are not actually admissible. Now, that may be controversial. People will say, why don't these kinds of things come in? They may. It's going to be up to the judge. However, especially because the actual employees of the fire department, the people who were involved, said that no pranks, I'll be brief, said that no pranks that Tenny Pierce engaged in actually had anything to do with the reason why this was done to him. You have to conclude that the photographs are irrelevant, and I think that comes straight from the testimony of the witnesses in the case. I also wanted to let you know that the Pierce family had to take their daughter out of school today. She is probably going to have to transfer schools. In addition to all of the children harassing her, the teachers are now getting involved. I thought you should know that. We call upon you to restore the dignity to the Pierce family. We call on you to show them that their courage and their sacrifices have not been in vain. We call on you to affirm the settlement, take control of the environment in the fire department, and please, please ensure that we are not here having this same conversation 3 years from now, 4 or 5 years from now. The people in the fire department and the citizens of Los Angeles deserve more. They deserve better. And you should protect the taxpayers from what could happen in this case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That closes our public comment. The 10 minutes that was moved in addition to yesterday's public comment, we're 2 minutes and 20 seconds over, so that will conclude that. And Ms. Perry is our first speaker.
Mr. President, and I appreciate the time given to allow some new speakers to speak today. We had a very challenging and complicated discussion yesterday, and it showed that people are really wrestling with this. One of the issues that came up over and over again was the question of whether or not this was racism. Racism is in the eye of the beholder, but let me tell you, based on experience, racism or the perception of racism, or one who believes they have been the recipient or the victim, it's often a precursor to other things. It is an indicator of age discrimination, ageism, sexism, bias against people who are gay and lesbian. If the presence of a form of discrimination is allowed to flourish, it doesn't just hurt one particular ethnic group, it hurts everybody in that environment and can lead to what you call a hostile work environment, a work environment where you don't feel welcome, and the welcome is taken away, or the hostility is manifested through awful words, awful actions, verbal abuse, pranks, whatever you want to call them. So don't get stuck on whether this was racism or not. I believe that's a red herring in all of this. And I know it may be difficult for some to draw upon their own life experience and try to understand how this might feel. I know that I said yesterday how painful it was to see Mrs. Mobley and Mrs. Reed and firefighter Hartsfield, because we already know how much they've endured, and to have to continue to talk about this again and again and again, 20, 30, 40 years in the same conversation over and over again is excruciating. And it's excruciating to see them have to go through that. But I can tell you that as elected officials on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, it's our obligation to ensure that all employees are treated fairly and in a just manner, and that the workplace is a safe and welcome place in which all can work, regardless of your race, creed, color, your sexual orientation, or your country of national origin. And that's part of the oath that we have taken, and I suggest we uphold it, and I hope today that we will have a straight vote out of the gate, up or down, on whether or not to overturn the veto, and whatever happens beyond that will happen. But I think we need to bring some clarity and definition to our position here today so that we can communicate directly with the public, because I know at some point we will go into closed session, but to be very clear on the action that we need to take today and vote it up or vote it down. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Mr. Parks is our next speaker, and then Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to rise and really talk about some of these issues. And one of the things that brought back memories to me after going home from listening to Mr. Pierce's comments. And I think what is getting confused is that what I always viewed as a prank is when everybody's in on it and no one's taken advantage of. But I would doubt that we would have the ability, with all of the conversations and documentations about pranks and rite of passage in the fire department, that you could find a dog food incident or anything similar. It's pretty obvious that Mr. Pierce is a black person, 6'5", hard to miss him. And of all the people in the fire station who were non-black, thought it was a issue in which it would be funny to feed only him the dog food. It reminds me of when Ed Henry, the second or third black captain in LAPD, went to 77th, and the officers thought it was funny to put a watermelon on his desk. Now, that could be funny to some people, but he just happens to be the second or third black captain in the history of Los Angeles Police Department. No other captain was treated that way, nor could we say that was just guys being guys. Or when Homer Broom, the first black captain and the first black commander, came back to work and found a chicken resided in his office over the weekend and left it in total disarray. That was funny to some. That was something in which people thought was a prank, but it only happened to a certain individual, a black captain, the first one in the history of the Los Angeles Police Department. And then years later, as I went to 77th, and as a black captain, that people wrote the N-word on the sun visors of every vehicle in the station. That was funny to some. Some may have thought it wasn't racial. Some may have thought it was a prank, but it was only done to a black captain. So we can play word games. We can decide today to be fair, or we can choose to send a message to the community that only certain people get fairness. We debated yesterday for a half hour where a white female in the police department received $850,000 for not getting her name on a list. Yet today we're saying if you ingest dog food, which Ken and Bob says is just a lower form of food, yet they've never acknowledged they ate it. That's an issue that I think hits at the whole area of racism. When we talk about going through this city, I've not had one black person in this city that talked to me about this that doesn't understand the racial connection. For those who have not been discriminated against, probably can't reach that, or as they say in the younger generation, they don't feel it. I can't talk to any one of the women here about having childbirth. I can say I was present a couple of times, don't know anything about it, couldn't say I felt you on it, but the issue is we can't walk in other people's shoes if we've not experienced it. So for us to sit and have comments that what we deem to be racism and what others may choose, as Mrs. Perry rightfully said, is in the eyes of the beholder. The joke that someone says is not a joke if the person heard it doesn't believe it's a joke. So the intent, whether it is a necessary reaction or whether it's an unintended consequence, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. And I think as the attorney said today, and that was stated in the newspaper, there are several issues that are issues that can be litigated. All of them are expensive. All of them will cost the city money. And what has hurt us in the past is we've gone forward, and all we have to do is look in the police department on the Nagatoshi case. Yeah, we went forward and said just because these officers bantered with each other in the K-9 unit, just because they thought it was important to call each other names, until one day Nagatoshi said, I don't want to do that anymore. And the city went forward on a lawsuit and said, he's a banterer, he's a prankster. He's the guy that participated. He was the guy that sometimes even initiated the contact. The jury said, take $3.8 million and have a good day. That's what we're dealing with. It is not our judgment as to what racism is. It's not our judgment as to what the liability is. It's the judgment of the jury. It's the judgment of the people who are making the allegation. And we can push the button or choose not to push the button today, but in the reality of it, the people that we harm will be those that will continue to say, all is not right at City Hall. There is not ability to say my word or my voice is important. And I think what we found, as I was in the police department, in the Rampart case probably was the most vivid example that when you want to dehumanize people, when you want to treat them badly, you treat them less than human. When they became a gang member and not a person, then you could plant a gun on them. When they became a gang member, not a person, you could shoot them and plant a gun, or you can lie in court and send somebody to jail for 19 years. That's when you can dehumanize an individual. That's what we have here today. No one in their right mind would tell you that it's a prank to merely give another human being dog food and expect that there not be a reaction. And when an individual has set their lives, as all of us do, as far as the future, and decides, I want to work to 25 years, that's his right to do that. And when we say that people in a station can cut his career short because they decided to feed him dog food, that's unfair, unfortunate, and the city should not stand behind that action. As the firefighter captain, and I didn't get her name that spoke, for her to show up here today and to express her views about what she thought should happen on this case is remarkable. But what she also told us is that other people will not step forward if they feel as though there is no support at the city council, because why? Why step forward when you get just jammed back when it's all over? Why step forward when the city council goes hand in hand with those who discriminate? That's the message she gave us. So those who suffer in silence, those who suffer daily, are the ones that are looking to see, are the doors open? And as we've said in the past, just because the water fountain no longer has the sign on it that says coloreds do not drink, doesn't mean everybody's going to run and drink the same day. It takes time. It takes people to understand that the door is truly open, the opportunity's there, and when we have incidents like this, we're sending them a message that we didn't go back to the 60s or the 50s. We're back to the 30s, the 20s. And these are issues we have to think about pranks. And one time in our history, people thought it was a prank and a joke to lynch people. People thought recently in Texas it was a joke to run a guy behind the car until his body disassembled. These are not jokes. This is down hardcore racism, because if they gave dog food to everyone in the station, it would be a prank. When you pick out the only black person in a fire station and give him this kind of treatment, you've dehumanized him, you've treated him less than a human being. He deserves to be made whole. And I would hope that we would see through this and make sure that this individual and this city can be proud of what we do today.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Our next speaker is Mr. Zine, and after Mr. Zine will be Mr. Wesson.
Mr. President, I've got issues regarding the case that I don't know if we need to discuss in open session or executive session. I know there's fire command here, and I'd like to discuss those issues. Are we going to do that now in open session, or are we going to go in closed session? Because we discussed this yesterday.
We will be going into closed session today.
Pardon me?
We will be going closed session today. That was what was continued yesterday. It was voted on to go into closed session today, but there is an open session before that, which is what we're in right now.
Well, I saw the rebroadcast of our council meeting, and I took a lot of notes. And I reviewed that last evening, and some issues that I have questions on. These are statements by Mr. Pierce and other individuals who testified here in open session that he admitted that hazing and pranks are done in love. And I'd like to discuss that aspect of racism and love. Also, it could have been alleviated, and Chief Coleman was mentioned, investigation, psychological help, and punish the individuals involved. And city did not step up. I'd like some issues on that to find what Chief Coleman did or did not do, and the issues surrounding that. And I have other issues, questions for the city attorney's office. Dr. Washington mentioned, look upon less than humans, Afros are less than humans. That's a quote from her, who was involved in the incident, race and time on the job, etc. When you're looking at an individual, and I don't know how long the nickname had been known to the firefighters, that Mr. Pierce had referred to himself many times as the big dog, when that issue I don't believe was discussed yesterday, but I'm trying to logically find how the racism, how the issue connects, how the prank was played, who was involved in it, the ethnicity of the individuals involved. And then when I listened to the captain who spoke, the female captain, when you look at a firehouse as you look at a police station, someone's in charge. And when I look at the firehouse, I understand the captain is in charge. So if the captain is here testifying that there are improprieties, I ask, what is the supervision the firehouse doing to tolerate, to permit? Was the captain in this particular station a part of this? I understand he was. But the captain that comes forward and says these are wrong, this captain and other captains are in the position of authority and responsibility and supervision to make sure this does not happen, this does not take place. I have a number of questions regarding depositions, et cetera, that I think we need to discuss in closed session, but the issues that have been brought about by my colleagues, this being a racist situation, clearly from the firefighters I've spoken to, from the people in law enforcement I've spoken to, from my own experiences, I cannot connect. It's a bad prank, it's a bad situation that took place, to connect that to racism. And the other issue I have regarding this $2.7 million in a pension, I was informed today that this pension will be at a 90% rate, not at a rate of a 20-year employee. That question also needs to be raised. If we have authority to grant a pension of a higher percentage than is permitted by the years that you've done in service to the people of Los Angeles. So I'd like to go into closed session as soon as we can to get those answers. The Fire Command is here, and if I look at the reflection of the Fire Command, I look at diversity in the Fire Command, where I see African Americans, Latinos, females within the Fire Command of the Los Angeles City Fire Department. So there's got to be some sensitivity. I'd like to hear from them also as their experiences within the fire department and how high this reaches within the fire department, if in fact it's a racist organization. And I don't think anyone will dispute that many years ago, many years ago, it was a racist organization where African Americans and other minorities were not invited to participate at the Los Angeles City Fire Department. So, Mr. City Attorney, Mr. President, I do have those questions. I want to ask those questions, but I don't want to violate what we need to stay in procedure with the specific questions regarding the incident and some other surrounding questions on that incident that took place and the time factors in between.
As Mr. Zine has requested, we will take those answers in closed session then. Mr. Wesson.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I rise today because and this may upset some people, I'm not talking about racism. When I got up yesterday, I didn't mention racism at all. And I don't want anybody to think that, because you have two other components to this case. Retaliation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, where if you go to court, you could pay 2.7 or more. So let's take racism and just throw it outside. It pains me a great deal that we have to vote on a settlement of $2.7 million. It pains me. That money could go to put more cops on the street. That money could go to safe passage programs to the schools. It pains me to do that, but what pains me more is a work environment that continuously brings these issues before us on this council, and we have to vote for it. We have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers. Everybody is talking about the taxpayers. I happen to believe that if this goes to trial, we will pay more. Our city attorney's office has indicated that we would pay more. So whatever gratification you get from voting no, and you got a lot of folks cheering, trust me, a year from now, 2 years from now, when the settlement is more, what are we going to say then, when we don't have that money for the safe passage programs at our high schools? Another thing, I've taken at least 5 or 6 sexual harassment courses, discrimination courses, and in every one of those courses, the one thing that jumps out at me, Bill, is that it's not how you feel about it. It's not how you feel about it. It's how the victim feels about it. It's not how we feel. It is how the victim feels. The next thing that sticks out, when something like this occurs and an employee goes to his supervisor and he reports it, then the supervisor, the manager, is supposed to take the appropriate action. As their employers, we are responsible for them, and we failed this man. We failed this man. Now, I don't know him. I don't hang out with him. I don't care if he was black, white, green, gay, or straight. Let's eliminate the racism component, and let's deal with the other two components, which could cost us more. And lastly, Mr. President, I will say, God, we failed. We're going to send the guy back, or there's talk of sending him back to the station where this occurred. Now, that's pretty cruel. Okay? Now, the last thing I want to say. In Sacramento, I know about compromise. I've had to negotiate with governors. I've negotiated with party leaders from the minority party. In fact, 2 governors, 1 president pro tem of the Senate, and 3 Republican minority leaders. But the one thing that I would never compromise on, the one thing that you should never compromise on, is the civil rights and the human rights of anyone, regardless of who they look like, who they sleep with, or what country they come from. So with that, Mr. President, I would say to each and every member here, vote your conscience when we get into closed session. Realize this. We lost the case. We lost this case. We're going to pay something. Are we going to pay $2.70? Or are we going to pay $5.25? Are we going to pay $1.50? I don't think this is going to go south of 2.7. I think it'll go north.
Councilwoman Perry?
Thank you again, Mr. President. I just wanted to speak one more time, again, to emphasize the point that we are not triers of fact. We are policymakers, and this continued discussion about, is this racism? Is this a prank? It's a misnomer. Okay? It's a misnomer, because clearly, it's quite clear that there is an environment that is hostile. That should be enough right there. And what ensued following the hostile work environment was a form of, you could argue, harassment, perhaps retaliation. We learned a lot yesterday. We learned that when people get promoted, while we're not firefighters, and maybe we look at some of these photos and think, well, you empty out the condiments of the refrigerator on the person who gets promoted, and while I personally think that's a little weird, that's their tradition, and I certainly wouldn't enjoy it, but apparently they did, okay? And that's their way of showing collegiality. But feeding somebody and not telling them that I'm going to feed you some dog food and giving them the choice takes on a whole different meaning. And I tell you that it's excruciating to think that this man's superiors actually knew that he was being fed dog food and actually stood and watched. It's almost unimaginable. I can't even imagine wanting to even work in a place like that. And so, as Mr. Wesson said, and what Mr. Parks said yesterday, and I don't know if you all realized it, but there were a number of people here who were crying very quietly in the audience. Some longtime activists and some who are younger, because they understand what it means, and it's not all that confusing. But you should understand, it's not just about an African-American firefighter. It's about a climate, an environment in the workplace. Always remember that. That's just an indicator that something is wrong. And there may be more to come. And you need to remember that. So when you continue to have these discussions about, I don't know if it was racism or not, that's not the issue. The issue is, how was one of our public employees treated by their colleagues and their superiors, and what are we as elected officials going to do about that? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. That closes the list for open session of the speaker queue. So in accordance with California state law, we will go into closed session, executive session, to discuss these legal matters that are before us, and we will come back into open session to discuss any decisions made. Thank you. If we can please clear the room. Welcome back to Los Angeles City Council. We're going to welcome back, a little more volume. Can you turn up the volume? Welcome back to open session, colleagues. We will wait for members of the public and press to be with us. Yes, Ms. Perry, did you have a? Sure.
No vote means when we're ready to vote.
We've had a motion that passed without objection to move the previous question. That means that debate has ended on this. We do also have a motion before us to override the veto that is before us. A yes vote would be an affirmative vote to override the veto and accept the settlement. A no vote is to not override the veto and let it stand. It requires 10 votes to override. And one last note, colleagues, if it does not receive 10 votes, it stays with us for the remainder of the 10 days, so 8 more working days, unless there's a motion to receive and file it. And so I wanted to note that if it does not receive 10 votes, it stays in council unless received and filed, and that receives the necessary votes as well. 8 more working days. Oh, excuse me. I misspoke about one thing. Because it is a litigation matter, it does not have that 10 days. It's not like legislation. It stays with us indefinitely. Yes, Mr. Weiss? Point of order?
Ask on that technical point because I'm not certain I followed it. Council took an action, sent the settlement to the mayor. The mayor vetoed it. So what is before the council now is the, if I just finish my question, is the veto, which requires no action, technically, but we have in fact a motion to override, which may or may not get 10 votes today. Why is there a requirement for a receive and file? After all, it's the veto which will stand if it is not overridden. Where does a receive and file come into play?
Because the charter is not clear, it's silent on the time period within which council can act to override the veto. So if council does not have sufficient votes to override the veto today, pursuant to Rule 53 of the council rules, the council has failed by sufficient votes to approve or reject the item, it would be placed on the next council agenda unless council moves to receive or votes to receive and file the item, which would be in effect rejecting the item.
And so the item under that logic, just so I understand it, that would go to the next agenda is the mayor's veto.
Correct.
And in the meantime, this is what I don't understand. The council, let's just hypothetically say the council has not come up with sufficient votes to override the veto. Is the veto live? Is it operative? Or is it in abeyance until a receive and file? My assumption would be that the veto lives, absent an overriding decision. You're telling me that it comes back and back and back isn't consistent with that, and I don't quite understand.
Pursuant to the Council Rule 53, it would technically be able to come back at the next, on the next agenda unless council we've done this before, affirmatively votes to reject the item by receiving and filing it, and that would be an 8-vote item to receive and file it.
No, but again.
So I think the question, Mr. City Attorney, was whether or not the veto stands while it is agendized each time, that the action of the veto, the settlement is not implemented.
That's correct.
But the item that you would be receiving and filing, hypothetically, is not a veto, it's an override motion. And that's what I mean, maybe there will be 8 votes to receive and file a failing override motion. Maybe there should be if that's what happens. But it doesn't quite make sense the way you just described it, because I don't see how a veto can be in this netherworld of existence.
I believe it's in the netherworld because of the silence in the charter language that the charter language did not deal with the time period within which council has to act. Otherwise, council would have lost jurisdiction, and they could not use Rule 53 again if council loses jurisdiction.
It's a salient point, Mr. Weiss, and perhaps a loophole in the charter that we can look at remedying in some way, because it seems to clearly leave that in both abeyance and before us at the same time. So, okay. Do you have a point of order? The debate is ended because of the previous motion, but yes, Ms. Perry, if you had a point of order.
On process.
On process, go ahead.
Process.
Yep.
Just to clarify.
Yeah, why don't you?
You should.
Hold on 1 second. I can't quite hear you, Ms. Perry.
Would you like to let Ms. Hahn go first?
Okay, sure. Ms. Hahn? Please, why don't you restate the motion, Ms. Hahn, in open session now?
Second.
Okay. Now seconded by Ms. Perry. Okay. Ms. Hahn has made the motion, and Ms. Perry has seconded. Any other points of information or points of order? Okay.
Mr. President, I have one last
Yes.
clarification. Again, if the veto is not overridden, and if someone makes a motion to receive and file, the effect of making a motion to receive and file, if it passes, means what?
Then the veto stands, and that is settled. What is not settled is then the next move in the litigation. That is something that the city attorney, in consultation with this body, will have to undertake.
So then, if someone makes a motion to receive and file, if the override does not occur, then a no vote would mean that it is still an open matter for the council. Is that correct?
Correct. Okay. All right. Everybody clear? All motion? Please open the roll.
I ask for a yes vote.
Everybody okay? Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
6 ayes, 9 noes.
That override fails.
I move to receive and file
Ask for a no
Ms.
vote.
Hahn's
No vote,
motion.
no vote.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Seconded by Mr. Smith.
No vote.
Okay? Please,
No vote.
again, a
Ask
yes
for a yes
vote is to receive and file this.
Is to receive and file the override motion.
No vote.
Okay. Please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
9 ayes, 6 noes.
That will be received and filed. We now will move to general public comment. And again, we want to thank people who have been extraordinarily patient. I expect many of the individuals that were here for general public comment were unable to stay throughout the session. Those who are here, of course, we'll read through these names. And we invite folks to come back on Friday. We'll be in Van Nuys City Hall to give the general public testimony. The first speaker is out in Van Nuys. If Mr. Dog is still there in Van Nuys City Hall.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Thank you so much. Wow, I wonder if the rest of the city is as confused as I am. I'll be calling my legal experts, sorting it out. Maybe you can clarify at the end what just happened here, because I got to call in all the radio stations and blog it. But thank you for the time. I waited 7 hours to speak now. First of all, TV 35, there's a sync problem. It looks like a Chinese karate movie subtitles when, I'll stop talking and you still hear the words. I'd like to invite everybody, this is Zuma Dog's new private chambers. You know I've suffered police brutality down in City Hall. I'm just going to wait it out till Landry retires out here. This is fine. I think it's a wonderful solution. I get to walk around. It's like my own private chambers, taxpayers' money. I walk around, I make phone calls. I'm going to start coming here a little more. And as you see, nobody's here. So I'd like to invite the city and the council. Come on out and visit Zuma Dog. I'll be here on Friday. Why don't everybody come out and see Zuma Dog on Friday for the meeting? By the way, it's John and Ken, not Bob and Ken. And I'd like to thank John and Ken because Zuma Dog did some investigative reporting on this dog food incident. I had information no one else in the city had. Thank you so much to the people that reached out and gave me that information. And thank you for John and Ken for reading my entire blog story from the Mayor Sam blog on KFI. Thank you, Zuma Dog, turning into a real investigative reporter off the streets of Venice. And finally, please, it's been a long meeting. There's a wonderful tribute to Alex Padilla, very heartwarming. He's a truly blessed individual. I hope someday people will come out and speak to me 1/10 as much as they did, and you cannot fake that tribute. Congratulations, Alex Padilla. Those are going to be some big shoes to fill, and hopefully Zuma Dog will be able to fill them, because now more than ever, I'd love to run for city council in Alex Padilla's district. I hope I get enough signatures. His ICO has been a template. His affordable housing ICOs has been a template. You heard Zuma Dog. I say the #1 city issue is affordable housing and tenants' rights, and I thank Alex Padilla for providing that template. And so please come out. Alex Padilla, congratulations, and watch the replay for Reardon and Vigorosa coming up at the replay.
Our next speaker is Sylvia Hawkins. Sylvia Hawkins here. Is Ted Neubauer here? Oh, sorry, Ms. Hawkins, go ahead.
Please do not say the word sorry. Thank you very much. Again, as we come to a final decision, human beings are ruling over the comatose brain of the dog and the black man firemen poisoning. We must override Mayor Varaga's veto decision. This dog is not to be blamed for any damage. Partying at this time was a stupid party with no T-shirt on of all men's. Granting all full money is a good thing, but we must do better. All officials with animals treatment, no on spanking animals, cutting off their voices. Our feeding care of all animals is horrible, of a C-. We must not quit on giving them equal and not organic food or sugar. Stealing is up 60% on lambs, goats, sheep, and turkeys in Florida, Chicago, Texas, California, Las Vegas, and New York. On 2003 in Mississippi, black people's private property has been cursed by God Jesus. Was it a tornado or a curse in Memphis, not Memphis, in Mississippi? 70% have exchanged money. It was not a tornado. It was a curse on Mississippi. Now, y'all done travel all over the world with the Trade Center money. People, amen. Now, y'all private part is cursed. So stop blaming the dog. Animal, we must protect the animals more than these people. As this weather begins to hurricane again, amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ted Neubauer, Lawrence Blocker, Oscar Johnson, Candido Maris.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members. I know you had a difficult decision to make. The reason why I stood here is because it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to ask you, why weren't these same questions asked when the DWP workers came here? For 2.5 years they came before you, pleading with you, asking you to intervene, to hear the words that I heard here today, to hear that you want to have reform, that you were here to protect them, that they were valued workers. But no one spoke out, not once. You talked about an environment, a work environment, that no one should have a work environment where they feel threatened, where retaliation takes place. Let me give you the definition of retaliation. Counter-reaction, counter-attack, counter-blow, revenge, vengeance. That took place for 2.5 years. And now we have lawsuits that'll take place. And they could have been stopped. They could have been stopped if someone would have just said something that you said, Mr. Wesson, cut the crap out. But nobody told Mr. Deaton that. Nobody had the guts to say to Mr. Deaton, cut the crap out. So now we have other lawsuits. But my question is, how are we going to make sure that this never happens again? Whether it's dog food, or it's retaliation, or it's somebody being intimidated. How do we do it? Mr. Wesson, your words were very poignant. They needed to be heard. Thank you, Mr. President, council members. And I'm not being disrespectful, but again, are we going to be here? I've been here since 1991. Are we going to see this next year, the following year? It's got to stop, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris. Michael Hunt?
Thank you, guys. I want to thank the city council members for speaking up, Herb Wesson, Bernard Parks, and Ms. Perry. To be on the other side is to really feel what really was going on. I don't think that it's the money that really makes a difference. I think it's the lesson that should have been learned here. The $2.7 million is like teaching the city of Los Angeles that we can't have this. And yes, does he deserve the reward? Yes, he does. It's like spanking the city of Los Angeles real good so that they'll know not to do it again. I, too, agree with Mr. Wesson. I think he put up a great fight. I have the most respect for you ever than I had before. I'm listening, and I'm really proud of the people who got up and spoke for it. I think that in the long run, if you pay $2.7 million now, you're going to save yourself another $2.7 million from litigation and in court. And, you know, the people who really spoke up for it really knows how it feels to be on the other side. And that's the main thing, is that you really got to take yourself out of your shoes and be part of the other side. And once you learn how to do that, then you know how African Americans, the gay people, everybody who has a different perspective really feel. Like I said, today I seen something I never seen before. The bill is going to pass next week. I'm going to be here lobbying for it, and I'm going to show you guys the difference and really what it really is. It's not the money. Let's take the money out of it. It's a good whooping for the city of Los Angeles to learn that they don't have to do it anymore, and that nobody should be treated like that or have to have dog food no matter what the matter is in life and in L.A. We're a lot better than that. Love you guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hunt. Dee Audit is Donna Doherty. Hi, Ms. Doherty.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and other council members here. I'm here, of course, because of Griffith Observatory Access Initiative. And I was up there again last night. It was very interesting because, of course, the front doors are closed or open or who knows what. And I had a young couple that sat on the bus returning with me with their child in a stroller. They carried that child up 12 steps to go into the front door because there was no sign to say they couldn't go in the front 4 doors. And they were told as they got to the doors, which were opening and closing, we got in to the front 4 doors on our own. And nobody stopped us, but they stopped them on a cold, dark, windy night with that child and told them to go back down the 12 steps and go around to the back side on the west wing to 1 door and come all the way down the hallway on that west wing to the front 4 doors again. What kind of sense is that? I don't understand it, but I have really enjoyed being here. I stayed to tell you how much I appreciated all of your statements, and I know all of you aren't listening, but for those of you who are, you explained a lot to me today about racial problems, and I think Councilwoman Perry, who's over here, she had a long line of different groups of people that have been persecuted in a sense, and she forgot to mention the disabled and the people with kids in strollers and everybody else that has a problem getting in up there. And I would tell you that the one sheet they had available up there is from the most recent press kit, and it signifies on there very clearly 2 points of entry for the disabled, and they are both on the back side of each wing. You couldn't get any more discriminatory if you wanted to. And because you close the front 4 doors and you make 1 door on the back side, that is not equal access.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Donna.
There were a lot of problems there last night.
Appreciate your comments, and thank you for your patience today with public comment. David Smith? Is it David Smith? Simon Williams? Matt Dowd. Okay. That closes our public comment, and we have just lost the quorum, so we will be unable to do adjourning motions today, but we will do the cleaning up on Friday. I'm sorry, did you have a card insert that I missed? Okay, we're out of the meeting, but if you'd like to address us, go ahead and in an informal setting, please do.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Charles Brister. I'm disappointed. I thought that everybody would realize that it's wrong to feed people dog food. I guess the status is unclear now here in the city of Los Angeles. I guess it's okay for for firemen to feed each other dog food if they want to. And I think that's a shame. You know, human beings should not be fed dog food. I'm also disappointed at the city's continued support of the genocide going on in Darfur. You still have money invested in companies that do business with that country, and I'd like to see you talk to the pension plan about divesting from that. It just seems like black life is not all that important these days, where we could support a genocide, we could support the feeding of a dog food to a black man, and I'd like to see a real change to that, and I think that'd be good for the city. And then also, as far as talk radio is concerned, I hope that you don't make your decisions based on talk radio. Talk radio told Americans that were against going to war in Iraq that they hated America. Well, you know, to let a couple guys on a microphone affect some of your decisions, I think is wrong. That's not why we elected you. And as far as the harassment, both sexual and racial and otherwise, that has to come to a stop, and I hope you do your part in making it come to the stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. This meeting of the Los Angeles City Council is now adjourned. We will next meet in Van Nuys City Hall this Friday. That is December 1st in Van Nuys. We look forward to seeing you there. We will be out of session and recess next week at the National League of Cities Conference, so we will then after that be next in session here in Los Angeles City Hall on the week of December the 12th. Will be our next meeting after that. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.